Let's bring the guys in. Gentlemen. Yo,
Hey!
yo. What's up?
Yo.
How's it going?
Happy Friday, brother.
I'm doing good, guys. I'm doing good. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you.
How was the stream, Drnkie?
Oh,
Good.
it was good. We were playing Inscription, and it was the most surreal, bizarre game I've played in a long time, man. It mixes different types of game. Like I went from playing this like 3D card game to like this 2D card game that's like all pixel, and in between it, they split in like video from real life and stuff. It's all mixed media and crazy and fun, man. It's a trip.
I had you on my laptop here, and I was kind of walking by as I was making dinner and stuff, and all I could see was just cards. I was like, "What's he doing?"
Yeah, card games are like one of those weird things where it's like, if you stream it, it's the only people really get it if they play it, right?
Yeah.
But if you sit there and like try to explain every move, it slogs on, you know. So you're just like, so
Best to just have a first-hand experience of it.
yeah. So
It was a pretty insane week. I don't know, when did all those spoilers actually come out? Was that Saturday? Was it the day after the pod last week?
I know we had like FanDome, like DC FanDome was on the Saturday after the podcast last week,
Yeah.
so I would like to talk about that for a bit, but I think you know, I don't know if you want to go through the timeline movies first. Like that's kind of our main point for the podcast, I suppose, and then we can kind of jump into news after that. I think it's probably like the best structure. So this week because obviously we've got no new Marvel content, which is sad times for us, but unfortunately what we're doing now is we're going through all of the old movies in a timeline order, and
Marvel's so lazy right now, you know.
how dare they do
hell
this
is
to
it?
us, bro? Like it's like we haven't had new content in like 3 weeks. Like what are they doing to us? So yeah, it was this week. It was Black Panther and Thor Ragnarok. I don't know. Like I suppose we're kind of just following what Disney Plus has up, which I would presume is the right way. But I've been looking online, and like there's different lists. Have you noticed that? Like there's different timeline lists. Like there's different kind of, I don't know. People are perceive it a different way or something. I don't really understand how there's different lists, but there is.
There's kind of a couple of films that like take place kind of at the same time. Right?
Yeah.
I think the best example would probably be, well, not probably be,
Where
but
we
like
are
Captain
now.
Marvel, right? Like
Where we are now as
Captain-
well.
Yeah, like in the timeline, Captain Marvel really can be watched anywhere because it only really pertains to it. And then she comes back in Infinity War and Endgame, or in Endgame rather. So like it doesn't matter where you watch it.
Yeah.
So I think that's how they do it with those, like, you know.
Yeah, like this lump of movies that we're watching right now, all came out within like the space of a year of each other IRL, I think, and then they were all at the same time in the timeline as well. So I suppose like Black Panther's happening at the same time as Doctor Strange and so on, and Ragnarok is happening at the same time as this as well. So it's kind of like, I suppose, I think maybe people are putting the lists together as opposed to their preference more so than the actual official timeline. So I suppose we're best to stick to what Disney are saying. I suppose if anyone knows the proper order, it's them.
Yeah. I'd say
Yeah,
they get the final say so.
There's actually, I think, a Reddit post somewhere that some dude spliced every single scene from all the movies
Into one long, just one shot, like one file. I've seen
all
it.
in order.
Damn.
Yeah.
All in
Yeah.
order though. Like that's so insane.
Yeah.
Like in order of how it actions in like the timeline of the world, right? Like,
Yeah.
so apparently the opening scene for it are like the Dark Elves from the second Thor movie. That's like the opening of the whole thing, because like it's the oldest thing we have in the MCU ever.
Yeah.
Which is just insane.
Yeah, I'd love to
And
watch
the only rule is you have to watch it all in one shot, no bathroom breaks.
Solid 54 hours, no big.
Yeah, no biggie. I remember when, I think it was Infinity War came out, they, like a lot of the theaters around the world were doing like 24-hour marathons, and you could get every movie up to Infinity War done in 24 hours, and I tried to get tickets to it and I couldn't. But me and one of my friends sat in my house and did it at home, and then literally
You don't need to
had
anyway.
it timed perfectly so that, like, you know, we were sitting eating food and watching the movies, and we had it timed perfectly that when the last movie would finish in my house, we jumped in the car and drove to the cinema for the new one at midnight. It was perfection, like, to be fair.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing.
That is like the peak dork
Yeah.
I think you did it the right way. I know it's exciting to go to the movie theater. I cannot imagine spending 24 hours in the same seat. Like
Yeah.
the swamp ass would be taking place
Bro,
would just be.
it'd be
oh.
too
like
much.
stale
Man.
parts in there. Ugh.
I'm very happy I didn't do it in the theater because this was like, pre-COVID. Could you imagine like the smells in the place and everything? Like I'd say it was disgusting because I'd say they were at like full capacity as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad I did the marathon at home, but it would have been cool to kind of say that you did it in the cinema. It would have been sweet.
Yeah.
Did you guys happen to see any costume people like during Endgame, like before it started?
No.
Mm-hmm.
I
there
my
was a dude.
theater- Yeah, I'm sorry.
It was a dude straight up dressed as Thor, and he started running up and down, down the stairs.
Yeah,
So Drnkie's
Just
in
pointing the
Orlando. He
hammer
better have
forward.
seen it.
people don't really do that over here. When I was young, though, like it used to happen a bit more, but people don't really do it anymore. Like when we used to go to the midnight showings of movies, if it was like a Star Wars movie, there'd be people having lightsaber battles in the lobby, like waiting for their popcorn. And like the bouncers would be threatening to throw them out and everything.
For me, Star Wars was the only one that ever got big enough that like people would dress up for it around here.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's just like, I mean, they kind of really are winning with the lightsaber fights because you can lightsaber fight in a movie theater line for 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, anyone,
Mhm.
anyone,
That's what
anyone
people
could, anyone could just bring a toy lightsaber, and just have fun with it or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you always got the one guy.
Man. It's like Kyle said, bro. It's like everyone dresses up for everything always, bro. Like
Yeah.
any type of release, I'm like, oh, there's somebody. Like it's a constantly running convention. It's wild, man.
Orlando, like you guys have such a good culture, and you guys always have stuff going on down there that I feel like, I don't know, it's a good place. I'm jealous of the culture down there, but at the same time, I'm not jealous that I probably don't have to deal with as many weirdos.
Why? They're the best part.
They are the best part.
They're so fun. They don't hurt
From
you.
afar,
I mean, you gotta know who to stay away from sometimes. You gotta buck up a little bit, but
That's
they're-
everywhere.
Like
That's
you see
everywhere.
the weirdos walking around downtown and stuff, dude. It's a blast, man.
That's everywhere.
I feel like I don't know. I don't feel like you have Florida men in Ireland.
Well, I've
They're a
never
different breed.
I've never been to Florida, but like I'll never forget how terrified I was of the homeless people in New York City, like in Manhattan. Like freaky, like screaming at
Yeah.
you about demons and stuff, like just obviously off their head on drugs and stuff, like, but like I'd never experienced anything like that in my life. Like the homeless people over here just kind of sit begging for money, and the ones that are junkies are just usually asleep on the ground, like you know what I mean? Like they're not on bath salts and they're trying to attack you like zombies, like it's a different fucking ball game over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's scary, dude. It's scary. Like that proper shocked me. Like me being like a little Irish boy in the big city, like I was just like, Jesus Christ, there's fucking zombies coming at me. Like I'm like, yeah, it was fucking
Bro,
crazy, dude.
It's funny you say that. One time I was in New Orleans with my girl. We were walking around, and there was this homeless guy who kind of followed us a little bit, and he started making zombie noises. He seriously, he had the. I
Yeah.
was like, what? He's like,
Yeah.
Braids.
come on, bro.
Meech doesn't play zombies. That's how you get pepper spray. You make a zombie noise around Meech late at night.
Game
you're
over.
getting some pepper
You're
spray.
done.
Yeah, game over. And
Oh, yeah. Good
and
for
right
her.
and rightly so. Yeah. Today is the launch day of nightclubs in the country. They've reopened nightclubs in the country, and one of the biggest nightclubs in Dublin had. I saw a video. Someone recorded a video. The queue from the front door was all the way down to the end of the street and around the corner. Place is going to be
That's
turned.
insane.
Place is going to be turned upside down tonight. Like it's going to be carnage.
Where are we going, Finto?
I'm staying
To
right here.
Dublin.
I'm here with you guys. I don't even want to be out in that jungle, man. Not tonight.
Yeah.
No way.
We're going on the second wave. We'll let the first wave, all those young kids. We'll
Yeah.
go second wave.
Next week I'll probably have a few stories. I'll keep my ear to the ground for a few crazy stories from what happens tonight. But I guarantee you, like, city's gonna be on fire. Like it's gonna be insane. Like locking all
Oh,
these
yeah.
young Irish people up for 18 months. Like imagine like being 21, you're in your prime, and you're locked up for 18 months. You can't go out clubbing or anything like that. I'd say they're gonna go fucking wild.
Sounds like the
Wild.
average criminal.
I don't
Yeah.
know. You guys aren't big drinkers or nothing, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, not
Like,
really.
You in Germany, I heard
Not
you guys in Germany just like don't drink much.
Not really. Actually, funnily enough, like I would say, like the biggest like sessioners, as we would call them, would be actually the English. The English drink a lot more than we do. Believe it or not, we just get the bad name for it. But like anytime I'm away, people would be like, oh my god, like if you go to Spain or something, or like, they'd be like, are you English? And I'm like, no, I'm Irish. And they'd be like, oh, great, great. They just hate the English because all the English come over in big groups and just get absolutely hammered and just trash the place, bro.
Yeah.
Like they give us a bad name. It's crazy.
I've seen the videos. It's nuts.
When you're
It's
drinking by the
insane,
pint,
dude.
that tends to
insane.
happen.
Yeah.
Oh, and their pints are way bigger than the ones we have over in the States, man. Like they're like double fisted in one cup and like just slamming.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And like I was down, I was drinking, like I loved it, but I just didn't realize it was like that at all, man. Like it's impressive.
To be fair though, and I find
England.
it impressive the other way around, because obviously I'm used to drinking big pints, but I don't. When we drink shots of like liquor, like so if we go up and ask for like a tequila shot, you guys get it in like what looks like a proper little glass, whereas we get it in these tiny little shot glasses. So like a shot for you is the equivalent of probably 3 shots to us. Like, so I'll never forget the first time I went over there, and I'm like, you know, we went to this club in like California, and like one of my mates was like, oh, give us some like 3 shots of Patron or something. Like, it's just like shit we don't get over there. And like the lads looked at it and like couldn't drink it, and I was just like, fuck's sake. I was like, these were like $10 each, I'm not gonna pass them up. So I drank them all. So it was like the equivalent for me of drinking like 9 shots in a row. I was
Holy crap.
I was hammered. Like, it was great. Yeah. There is an open invitation. Anybody who wants to come over to Ireland and party with us, 100%. I know Clint is coming soon, so yeah, absolutely. If you are over this side of the world, hit me up. I'll take you to some good. Baby. I'll take you to some good places. We'll drink some good beer.
I need to come back. I've only like traveled through Dublin. I need to stay there. I had like an overnight. It was like landed at like midnight, left at like 9 a.m.
Yeah, doesn't count. I always say like because like that happens, like if I'm doing like layovers, I might stop in Philadelphia or Chicago or something. I don't count it that I've ever been there, because if the way I see it is if you don't leave the airport, it doesn't count. Yeah, 100%.
I see. We stayed at Airbnb, and it was like literally the nicest people I've ever met in my life were Irish. Like I interacted with like 3 Irish people outside of the airport, and I was like, oh my god, why are they so nice? Are they trying to steal something from me? This like, what the hell is going on here?
This is unreal.
I think everywhere's got bad eggs now, but yeah, like most people are just really nice,
My uncle did a proper travel through Ireland not like a few years ago. I wish we would have been friends back then, and I would have been like, yo, I'm coming. I got the hookup out there.
Yeah.
He went to like Bedlam. He went to a bunch of places because my mother's like side is very Irish. So yeah, he just went and saw a bunch of stuff in Ireland.
Sweet.
I'm gonna go one day.
Sweet. Yeah, try come in the summer, because if you come in the winter, it's just shit. Like terrible weather. Like starting to get dreary and rainy and all now already. Like, and like we had really good weather. Like last week it was like 14, 15 Celsius, and I genuinely, this is no joke, I woke up on Wednesday morning and I was shivering in the bed, and I thought that I had gotten COVID. I thought I was sick. I was like, oh no, I'm sick. I was like, what the hell? And then we have like one of those Amazon Echo things, and like an alarm went off and it started reading out the news, and it's like the temperature is 2 degrees. I was like, oh my god, I couldn't believe how much the temperature dropped in a day. Went from 15 to 2 in a day. So I literally woke up shaking in the bed, like covers over me and everything, and I was like, oh my god, I'm sick. I can't believe this. I might have COVID. Fuck. And it turns out it was just cold.
So for all those Americans out there, that's like 60 degrees Fahrenheit to about,
probably like 40.
To about 35.6
35.
degrees.
Oh,
so
God.
it's about, it
30.
dropped about 30 Fahrenheit degrees.
Yeah.
I can't live like that.
Yeah, well, like it kind of went back up, but it was just such a crazy drop. Like, I don't know what's going on with the weather.
Drnkie can barely handle 15 Fahrenheit degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
It gets to 70 in Florida, and they start wearing
Give me a sports
turtlenecks
jacket.
and Birkins.
Bring some jackets if you're ever over this side of the world.
Like just a
for sure.
windbreaker?
It gets cold,
Yeah.
bro. It's even like you'd be cold in the summer over here.
Probably.
The hottest we get like is 23, 24 degrees Celsius, like whatever that is, like 76 or something more.
Yeah,
Crazy.
Yeah.
I'm over in Washington, much closer to Canada now, so like I'm already starting to experience the cold weather. Like we had it sunny yesterday, now it's like rainy. I can't wait till December when it starts snowing. I want to go up into the mountains. There's this place called Leavenworth. It's a little Bavarian town.
Nice.
It's so beautiful. They have this gigantic, there's a gigantic tree. I want to see it when it's all lit up.
Yeah.
Are the pretzels?
Ooh, one of those big
Oh,
boy
they're
trees that are
fantastic.
like thousands of years old.
They even have
That's
brats.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
I
Guys,
want to see the redwoods. You're in that area.
Oh yeah, I've only seen the evergreen so far.
let's talk about Black Panther.
I'm gonna say
Let's go
I
straight
already
in.
have-
We're going straight
There's
in.
one thing I've been waiting to say about Black Panther for a while. I didn't actually know this. I learned this in the past like 2 weeks.
Okay.
Apparently, in the comics, he is like in the top 3 smartest people in the universe of all
Mhm.
time.
T'Challa is.
T'Challa is, yeah.
I
He's
didn't
one
know.
of like he's considered, one of the smartest individuals in the entire universe, and that doesn't come across at all in the movie. Like you see, you just said you didn't know. I didn't know either.
Mm.
And until you actually go into the comics or go into any of those backstories, you don't really find that out. Like he's up there. It's like him, Reed Richards, like they're just above and beyond everyone in intellect. And I kind of wish they would have translated that a bit more, because it does make sense. I mean, if you think about a kid being raised in a place that's just technologically advanced
Oh,
over everybody else
sure, look-
by
look-
30,
look-
40 years.
Look at his little sister, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, Shuri.
She's a genius. Like, she's only like 15 or whatever. Is she in the comics as well? Right, she is. It's
Yeah.
not like it's not like
Yeah, she becomes a Black Panther in the comics as well.
because you know the way sometimes DC do this a little bit where they might like create a character but kind of take some of the attributes from one character into another just to kind of justify one character
Yeah.
not having everything to kind of make another character. Like they do it on TV all the time and stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, it definitely feels like watching the movie. It feels like they gave his intellect side, his attributes intellect wise to her, because what doesn't make sense at that point if he's as smart as her, which he is, and you don't need that James Bond like that Q figure that's going to show you all the new gadgets, because technically, I mean, the closest they come is when he talks about things. He's like, why do they need updates? It works fine and stuff like that. And then, but like even then, she makes him seem like everything can always get better. Updating is good. So it just, I kind of find myself missing that. I
Mhm.
think it'd be cool, but this movie
Yeah,
hits different with Chadwick on. I'll say that.
Oh yeah, like
I love the opener for this film, bro. You know when he's like jumping out of it. You know, it's like don't get distracted, like when you see her and all. And she's like, I never freeze. And like he jumps out of the thing. Oh, it's fucking great, bro. I love it. Like
yeah.
visuals were great. Love the music. I loved the soundtrack. Like Kendrick Lamar, big into hip hop. Kendrick Lamar did an album for this movie, and like the album has all like the drums from the film in the background and stuff, like between tracks and stuff as you transition. And dude, like it's amazing. I love the vibe of this film.
Killmonger's theme. I love Killmonger's theme. It's so good.
I love everything about Killmonger. Like he's fantastic in this film. Michael B.
He's-
Jordan
he's-
is amazing.
He's one of the best villains I
Yeah.
think we got throughout the entire
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Yeah.
run. Like he's very heartless and very like he plays his role very well.
Andy Serkis's character as well. What's his name again? Oh my God.
Ulysses Claw.
Claw, yeah.
Oh, wow.
He's quite good in it as well. And just like even like when Michael B. Jordan eventually just like shoots him, you're kind of like, whoa, Jesus, you don't see it coming. Like it's a very shocking moment, like because you just think he strikes as a character that's just going to be around until the end. Like he's like a cockroach, you just can't get rid of him, you know. But then
Yeah,
boom,
he
he's
really
just
should have stayed.
he should have, but he's just dies straight away. It's kind of crazy, like, yeah, crazy. What did you think,
Andy
Drnkie?
Serkis fits.
Sorry, or Alex, or whoever.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, yeah, like Claw really, like Andy Serkis's Claw fits so well because you could tell Andy Serkis is really like having a lot of fun with that role, and it just shows. Like, and I really wish that he wasn't killed off that easily, because holy crap, I would have loved like another movie where he just happens to be there and he's like, I got some other things I can deal with you.
Yeah, his character definitely is, you know, it's good for the fact that he gets killed off. Like, it's a good scene, right? Like, it's like shocking. You're like, oh man, like Killmonger doesn't care. Like, he just doesn't care. But you're right. Like, if we had Claw coming back around throughout the entirety of the MCU, you know, the next Captain America movie could probably use some of like Claw. Like, he's a good like street level
Steamboat type character.
Yeah, not too strong. And it's Andy Serkis. He's always like just fantastic in anything he does.
Killmonger, I think, could have reappeared. Maybe not necessarily. I don't know if he dies in the comics, but
I'm still not convinced he's died in this movie, but I'll take your guys' word for it, man.
That's what I'm thinking too. Like, I think he could just come back.
You guys think he's
I mean, it's
alive or
possible they
dead?
preserved him.
I think he's alive.
It's possible. I think he's alive too, like preserved.
Yeah, I think.
I just the way I read the end of this movie is that he didn't die, that he just got really injured, and they took him away to like heal him, take him as a prisoner.
Yeah.
It wasn't until this podcast that you guys were like, no, he died. I was like, what? And you guys are the one that enlightened me that he died in this movie, and I had no idea. I've been this entire time since this movie came out. It was like Killmonger's still bopping around this universe. He can come back whenever. He's a threat.
It's since seeing it the first time. When you're watching it the first time, like to me, I viewed it the first time as if he died, right? And then now every time I rewatch the movie, I'm like I'm close to the screen, looking at the very end of the film, going, "Is he moving? Is he dead? Like, what's going on?" You know, I'm trying to see if is there any kind of flinch out of him. It's kind of like the end of Inception. It's like, does the pin fall over or not? I'm fucking watching. I'm like, does he move?
I agree. It feels like the door of possibility. Like the first time we watch it, I was the same way.
Yeah.
It seems very easy to take that as like his dad promised him he was going to see Wakanda, and now like his death scene is seeing the sunrise in Wakanda.
Yeah.
But then like during the rewatch, I don't know if maybe it's the What If episode we saw where he just was pretty good in that, being a bad guy, like furthering his story a little bit more as a bad guy. But like, he just does such a good bad guy that I think maybe if he isn't alive, the only reason we have that like idea or perception is because we want more of him. Like he picks the better suit. That's one thing that does upset me too. I really wish Chadwick would have had the black and gold suit.
I like the
that
purple
suit's
suit.
so good.
To be honest, I really like the Black Panther suit.
I think this movie though overall for me, like this was the first MCU movie I really watched where I kind of walked out and felt like it was just kind of mediocre overall. I know a lot of people love this movie, but I don't know, man. I feel like they did the same scene and storyline in it twice, where they had Chadwick or they had Black Panther and Killmonger fight the same way in the same type of fight.
Yeah.
I felt like them repeating that fight like that kind of was weird. It didn't feel like it fit. It just felt like it kind of drug it out. And I also felt like Killmonger's character, like at times I feel Michael B. Jordan, I don't know if it's editing or what, like he's just overplaying his part a little bit too hard. And the way he's like almost like he's screaming out what he's saying, you know? It just, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't for me. And then the biggest letdown for me in this movie has to be the final fight scene, which I just thought was terrible. I thought you couldn't see a thing. I thought when you could see, it was like really bad CGI, and it wasn't worth it, man. Like it wasn't worth it to have the train fight.
Oh,
like
the train,
that.
yeah. So I was about to ask.
Yeah,
you're talking about the train, yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Like the train fight. The train fight was just like it was bad. It was like really bad CG. And this is coming out like after like Civil War and like Captain America, where we have these like really, really great tight fight scenes. And even early in the movie, like when they're in the casino, those fight scenes were amazing. And then we just have this goofy CGI fight that it just such a letdown, man. Such a bummer to land the film on a fight like that.
Yeah, it really wasn't worth the whole like plot reaching to that point just for us to see like these glistening characters that like, oh man, it's supposed to look that real. No, it really didn't. It like what year was that created? And we're still seeing it look like kind of glossy.
That movie came out in 18, so it was probably like made like 16, 17. Like realistically, like 17 probably was when all the work was done on it.
Did anyone else notice the strong connection to The Lion King in this movie? It feels like The Lion King so many times. I'm like, hey, this is The Lion King. That's what they're doing The Lion King right now.
I mean, yeah, because like he does kind of go into exile, or into hiding because he's considered dead, similar to how Scar
like
took
everything
down
when he
Mufasa.
becomes king. Like when he becomes king, it feels like Lion King scene. You got everyone surrounded. It felt like The Lion King in a lot of parts.
Is he Simba?
Yeah, he's Simba.
Pretty much. He even talks to his dead dad.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
It's The Lion King, bro. Dude, and I always feel bad for Eric, for Killmonger, because it's like his astral plane was still a shitty apartment in Oakland, California.
Yeah.
Damn, bro. GG, bro. Like, that's your astral plane? Like, oh.
Yeah, that's kind of sad.
Yeah. The other guy's got a freaking majestic panther in the plains of Africa. in
Yeah, I love those
my
scenes.
boys
They're
in
just they're
Oakland, Cali.
so stunning looking. But I suppose it's
But
like it's what he's brought up in though, right? Like
Yeah.
he has no education on the history or anything, so he's not going to go there because he's not going to know about it. Do you know what I mean? So he goes back to what he knows, and it's
And
that apartment with his father.
and to talk about what Drunkie said about the two like waterfall fights, like that's just formula, Drunkie. Like you have that one moment of like, oh man, he is the king, he's the greatest, and then you just have another fight of like, oh man, our king was killed. Oh, what do we do now? Like
Yeah.
that's formula, man. Like
I know.
you have a win and then you have a loss.
I kind of understand what Drunkie's saying though, because like the fights, like most movies will do that, but they usually have them in different like settings. Like it's the same thing. There's always the fight where the hero loses, then the fight where he wins. But in this case, it's like the fight was in the exact same spot. It looked like the exact same fight twice.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And then it's when he fights the first time, and it's not even against Killmonger. Like he has another fight, so like he gets the power of the Panther like stripped away twice in this movie. So it's kind of like, did they need to do it twice? They could have just done it once, like or whatever.
And then they have a third fight where they're both the Panther. It's like you could have just like you could have done something different. You could have had circumstance be different.
So
It's just kind of. I was gonna say it's kind of funny because like in Shang-Chi, like we're missing a fight, and this one we need to
too
remove
many?
the fight.
Yeah.
Can we take one of the fights out of this movie and give it to Shang-Chi?
Yeah.
Can we make a trade?
So do you think
Like
that? Go ahead, sorry.
I think if like one of the fights would have been like Killmonger and Black Panther outside of Wakanda in some way, like I think that would have totally worked. Like they meet
Killmonger,
something
like, killing
beforehand.
Mbaku.
Like a concrete jungle fight.
Yeah,
I
like
think Killmonger should
something.
have killed M'Baku or something like they're like going to M'Baku to try to get him to like save them, and then Killmonger slays him too. Like who do you have left?
Yeah,
And then Chadwick's like return there would have been like, oh, okay.
Yeah, they had an opportunity in the movie to have kind of like a real world fight, like when Killmonger breaks in and the Panther's there, but then he like chases after them, but they get away. It's like they could have had a cool little like showdown, and then maybe just Killmonger just escapes or something, They kind of I think that's where you have the first fight maybe, and then like the second fight's in Wakanda where it's the whole show.
And maybe not even like a long fight, just like a little encounter,
Yeah,
scuffle,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
where Black Panther's like, what the hell? Like, what is this? Like,
The first time they see each other, he gets hit with a 203 round launcher into the chest, and then just like watches him go away, and he's like, oh, he slipped away.
Yeah. Oh no, he's gone. And
and
he's got a ring around his neck.
I remember walking out of the theater because I never really knew much about the Black Panther character when I went to go see this movie. Like the first time I really saw Black Panther was in Civil War. So I never read the comic books about him, but never really knew about him. And so I remember walking out of the movie theater thinking about how weird it was that the most advanced civilization on Earth, Wakanda, chooses their king by mortal combat. And I know that's more of a critique about like the whole character of Black Panther. Yeah. Versus the movie specifically. But I was just like, this is the best we got. And we fight to the,
We can't be that advanced, Drunkie.
I guess so. That's how we choose the king.
I
do want to give him credit, man. This is like one of those moments in Marvel where like they introduce a whole new like type of culture. Like this is kind of like a Guardians of the Galaxy where it's like whole new world, whole new culture, everything coming at you at once. And man, Wakanda is like, they nailed it, bro. That's like one of the coolest settings in the MCU. I wish we got to be there more. Even when you get like the little snippets at end of Civil War where it's like Bucky showing up there or Captain's dropping him off. I'm like, it's just like, it's the best, man. So it's really cool to be there. I know they got that show coming out where it's going to be like just stories set in Wakanda.
Yeah.
On Disney Plus, and like I'm excited for that because Wakanda is just it's like one of the biggest stars in this. I wish we could see more and explore more rather than just like the fields where the rhinos are. Like I actually want to see like the city of Wakanda.
Like DC, the writers need to take classes from the people that did Wakanda, that did Black Panther, because if they would have got the same vibe in like Wonder Woman, in both the Wonder Woman movies that they have with the Dora Milaje, like holy, the Dora Milaje are so cool.
Yeah.
They're the best female, like Amazonian type badass warriors we've seen in any of these movies, and it's been attempted many times, and they do it so right, like just so badass.
The best.
let's not talk about
The way they
Wonder
walk
Woman 2,
around,
please.
bro. What's
Yeah,
that? What?
let's not talk about Wonder Woman 2, please. Jesus Christ. That's
Oh no,
that's
sorry,
possibly
Finto,
one of the
Wonder
worst
Woman
films.
in 1984, bro.
That is
forgot.
possibly one of the worst films I've ever seen in my life. Like I
haven't watched it yet.
I almost turned it off 5 minutes in.
I did.
That mall
I did
scene,
turn
dude.
it off.
That mall scene, bro. I looked at my girlfriend and I was like, I can't do this. Like this is awful.
I'm-
And she's got
might just
they're
check it out.
greenlit. They're greenlit for a third one. No, you have to watch it, bro. Please do. Like and just
You've never seen it?
oh, you
No,
gotta,
I never got a chance to see it.
you gotta watch it. You gotta watch it just to know how much we hate it and just sit there and go, okay, I gotta get through this. Like you know.
Yeah.
To go from like Wonder Woman, the first one, which is like one of the
Yeah.
better superhero movies
Yeah.
ever made,
Yeah.
to this pile of oh my god, bro.
Yeah. It was
Like who the hell?
such a 180. It's one of the like it'll go down in history as one of the biggest 180s ever. Like one of the worst sequels ever. Like
Yeah.
honestly, so fucking bad, bro. I can't
And
Maybe
believe.
they're still
Ah,
hiding
the
the
Star Wars
Snyder's cut of
movie.
it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah.
Oh
Fair.
my god.
Fair.
I mean, but regarding like Black Panther and Chadwick Boseman being T'Challa, like the one thing that I like, besides the fact that he passed away, rest in peace, I am going to be sad when we get to the point where the X-Men pop in, we get to see Storm, and we'll never get unless they recast him, we'll never get to see the wedding of like T'Challa and Storm.
I don't
Yeah.
think. Yeah. Like I think they're not gonna recast him, as far as I know.
Yeah.
Not for a long time
I-
anyway, until they probably reboot the entire MCU.
I'm pretty sure like Kevin Feige came out and said like the character of T'Challa will always be like Chadwick Boseman's.
Yeah.
They're never gonna do it.
They retired
so-
the jersey pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, so like unless they reboot, yeah, we're not gonna get that. I don't know who else can really take over the mantle of Black Panther inside of these movies because like I see no one.
Well, we know
who-
that they're giving it to Shuri.
I don't think we know that.
That's not 100%. I think that is the
I
main.
thought that was confirmed. Oh, I thought it was confirmed.
That's the main.
I think
it's the main theory, but it's not 100%.
Yeah, and it's something that like a lot of people want, and then they try like keep pushing it like it's a thing.
Yeah.
But I don't think Marvel's ever come out and said it. But like Shuri, like that would be her character. Like that would be a terrible Black Panther. The actress as her.
Yeah. I
Like,
just
I don't know. It
I
just
mean-
doesn't work for me.
can't picture.
Because
it.
if they go that crazy though, then they might as well throw in like Bucky as the White Wolf
Mhm.
and just give him his suit.
Yeah.
I need that, dude. Ever since I've seen that like mock-up of that, I've
It's
thought
so
that we were
nice.
gonna get that in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and that was probably my biggest disappointment. We didn't get just one frame of that suit. I was so
Yeah,
sad
and-
about that.
And although Falcon and the Winter Soldier was very grounded, I really think it could have used a little bit more like CG effects, like any additional like wow effects that could have like really pumped it up a bit. Because Bucky's got a lot of cool things that he can do. Like of course when they took off his arm, that was really cool.
Yeah.
Like when the Dora Milaje just like tapped him on the shoulder and took it off.
Genuinely, I think if you put, the scene where Bucky finds the little ball on the ground and he turns around and it's one of the Dora Milaje. If he turned around and it was Black Panther in the suit, not Chadwick, just a Black Panther suit, I think that would have instantly brought that entire show up a notch. Like just 5 seconds and him just going like
No
using
dialogue even necessary,
Yeah, or
just him
just-
standing there.
Yeah, just use an old line from Chad's, like from one of the other movies. Like they did this shit with Luke Skywalker and The Mandalorian. Like Mark Hamill didn't speak any of the lines in that episode. They just chopped and used software to like literally write out the script, and a robot spoke it back. So they could do that with Chad. Like, and I know they don't want to because they don't want to taint his legacy or whatever. But like that would have been incredible. 10 out of 10. Just 5 seconds. Just have him turn around. Because, like, it would make so much sense. Like, you know what I mean? You find out that Zemo's alive, the guy who killed his father. He's going to be the first one to get on a fucking plane. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is the proper, like, revenge. Like, this is it. Like, it's like, this is the guy who killed his father. He has to be put back in prison, like, so it didn't make any sense to me that Chadwick wasn't there, or like that T'Challa wasn't there. Yeah, that didn't make any sense to me. That's what annoyed me about that show. Like, that's that time
Like-
in the series anyway.
I think they should have either had Chadwick or not have the Dora Milaje at all. I think that's what kind of ruined it. Was the fact that they showed that kind of the intention was there, but then they did it halfway.
Yeah.
Like I get that they were trying to just add to the plot and be like, oh, Zemo has a time limit, but it just didn't seem to fit properly.
Yeah, I remember when it was coming out, or we were actually discussing the episodes. I think one of us, maybe Finto, was even saying like he thought that scene was meant for Black Panther. I think you're right about that. I think that was definitely written in the script for like Black Panther to show up, to elevate it even more. And
I would not
do.
And I would not be surprised if they actually had a scene and then they had to cut it, or maybe they just used a suit, not even Chadwick on set. And then, obviously after his passing, they said, look, we have to scrub this, and just shoot something else.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know who I think, I don't think they could fit the shoes, but I think that they could be like a decent replacement is Daniel Kaluuya. And he is the protagonist from Get Out.
Yeah.
He was the main guy.
Mm.
And
he's already in the universe, though.
he is in the universe, but they could still give him the suit and they could call him the Black Panther.
Yeah.
And plus he's
after what he did in the they ruined that because of what they did with his character in the movie. I think.
Right. But they could also like rewrite it in a sense where he understood like the wrongs that he's committed, and that he can redeem himself by serving Wakanda as the Black Panther and do its bidding.
Yeah. I think it really needs to go to somebody who is like kind of a natural warrior though, like Killmonger.
Like Nakia.
Yeah, someone like that. Like,
Nakia would be fantastic. Though.
Yeah, I think so. Like, yeah, one of the top Dora Milaje could do it. I just don't see any other like kind of normal people, and even like his sister as well. Like as far as I know, I don't think she has much like combat training and stuff. So it's not believable if she just takes the suit and then becomes this badass who's doing flips and everything. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, it's like the suit doesn't have any power.
Ross.
Do you know what I mean? Suit doesn't have power. And are there any flowers left after Killmonger burnt them all? Like, so can you actually transfer the power of the Black Panther? I presume maybe they're going to explain how they can grow more somehow, but
they'll find a way.
They could probably
like, is Chadwick, and this isn't true because we've seen him fight without the powers, but like, it seems that like these people would, when they get the powers, just be strong but not actually have any martial arts, whereas Chadwick or T'Challa was actually a martial artist and like well trained without the power, and that's the difference. Like,
I really wonder how they're gonna play going forward without even having Chadwick to use now. How are they gonna simulate his death in the MCU or his disappearance?
I think I think they're gonna have a death scene for him. I think he's gonna like die off camera, and they're just we'll pan to a funeral, and it'll be like a news report, and it'll be like, the tragic death of T'Challa, blah blah blah. Like, and they'll make up something that happened to the character, and I think it'll very much mirror the shock of that the actual world felt when Chadwick died. I think that's what they're gonna do.
They could always do it like the animated show where like they never really take off his mask.
Yeah.
And just have him in the suit
Permanently, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, if you really want to preserve it, if you don't want anybody else to be T'Challa, then you can at least have someone be Black Panther.
I think they do want to keep the mantle going of Black Panther. There's a lot to be like. I don't think you have anything based in Wakanda without Black Panther. Like, I think you need that mantle and that character of Black Panther to bring Wakanda into the stories.
Yeah.
Or of the MCU.
Well, it's already
I would throw my hat in for the guy he fought in the very beginning, M'Baku, whatever.
M'Baku, yeah,
the dude from the mountains. Like that's a dude. He could be Black Panther, bro.
He's a legend, bro. He's one of my favorite characters in the movie.
I love
him. Love him.
Especially when he could have taken that last heart-shaped herb to himself, and he's like, "Nah, actually, I got your boy on ice over here."
Yeah.
Like, he could have really been the bad guy there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kidding. We're vegetarian.
I think like these like, what's his name? They've kind of confirmed that the Atlantean, what's his name in the MCU? Oh my god, I can't think of his name right now. Namor, yeah, he's going to be in the second movie. And Ironheart as well has been confirmed to appear in the movie as well.
Awesome.
So that's pretty sweet. But I think what they're a lot of people are saying could potentially happen, like, to really sink Namor in as a villain, have it that he kills T'Challa. So there's a scene at the very start of the movie, he kills T'Challa, everyone in the world is just like, fuck this guy. Then it's like he's the first mutant as well, so it's like, you're bringing mutants in, and you're bringing in T'Challa's killer. Everyone's going to hate him. He's going to become like a top villain. You have him play out for a few more movies as a kind of Thanos kind of character, and then you've got the war between like Atlantis and Wakanda as well. Like it's they're lining it up, and I think they do need to have a Black Panther, obviously, and they will. But yeah, I don't know. Like for me, it makes the most sense to have Killmonger.
I would venture the guess that like Namor isn't the one who goes to T'Challa. I think he gets framed for it.
Yeah.
I think they pin it on him.
Yeah.
I think that's 100% because Namor is not a villain. Like he's not like, you know, he's kind of like a neutral or a chaotic, you know, good neutral guy. Like he has no time for anyone. He cares about Atlantis and doing what's best for Atlantis, and like that's it. And so like he doesn't care about what else goes on. So he's not like a true villain. So I don't see how they could run him as a villain. But you know, he'd be good if they did. Like he's a badass man. Like he's a dude.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm excited about that to see what they do with that. What do you think of the just while we're talking about the future? What do we think about the delays?
Man,
it's only 6 months, but
the way I see it is, I don't see how it doesn't make sense to me how they're separating Spider-Man from Doctor Strange unless in that 6 month period they plan on doing some Disney Plus content. I've already talked to you guys a little bit about this. Like it could be WandaVision season 2, maybe the Agatha Harkness show. It could be something like that, unless they plan on doing something to further tie in, because it just feels like that's a step away from keeping this whole connected universe going. Because these two movies, more so than almost any that we've seen, are so connected.
Yeah,
like every preview is him showing up to Doctor Strange.
It only popped into my head today, but I kind of it kind of made me think. But it's like this Doctor Strange movie was meant to actually be out in like 4 months time, and we haven't seen a official photo from it. We haven't seen a teaser trailer. Nothing. 4 months out. So it makes sense to me that they've delayed it because they're doing extensive reshoots for the film. So I wonder, is the reason why they're doing this now is because they're listening to what everybody's saying on the internet and going, shit, everyone's expecting like Xavier now, and they're expecting all the Spider-Man, and they're expecting Ghost Rider and everybody. So apparently what the reasoning for it is that they needed to do a bunch of reshoots for Doctor Strange, and because all these movies are so closely knit together that you can't delay one without delaying them all now. And that's kind of, you know, the beauty of the MCU, but also it hurts them too, you know, to have so many projects so tied into each other. You know, you can't, at this point, you can't just go, actually, fuck it, you know, we'll release Thor first, because obviously they tie in story-wise. So you can't just go, actually, you know, we'll move one up because it's on schedule. But Doctor Strange is, you know, dropped out now, so it's like, shit, we'll move this one, we'll flip them around. So now this is like, we have to just move everything down the road, like, which is nuts. But
see,
you know,
I heard that the rumor was reshoots. Have they confirmed that, or do you think it's confirmed. A scheduling thing?
That's confirmed.
Yeah.
It's confirmed for reshoots for Doctor Strange 2.
That's rough.
Because they're shooting new scenes with new characters that they want to add to the movie. That's the official.
That's rough.
Yeah.
Hey, that was the official reasoning too.
Yeah. So I genuinely think they're gonna add in like some scenes that, because I think that they definitely do listen to all these big influencers and like all the breakdowns and theories. Like there's no way Kevin Feige isn't watching like new rock stars breaking stuff down and like all the Mephisto stuff and all this shit. Like they are 100% watching everything. Like they're not listening to this podcast.
No, they are.
They're not, but they will.
Feige.
They will someday. But they're not. Right. They're not right now. But they are definitely listening to content. They are listening to what people want. You should go onto Reddit and all this stuff. Everyone's talking about Xavier and talking about like Wolverine showing up in like Multiverse of Madness and all this stuff. So yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense to me.
Contrary to what Finto's saying right now,
scared, bro. Like
this is a direct message to Kevin Feige. You are not welcome on this show unless Doctor Strange 2 is a bang.
Yeah, no, his spot on the podcast has been secured. You know it's going to be a banger.
Yeah. Well, you know,
that's one of the hat off. That's our stipulation.
Yeah. I want to see his head.
That's one of the big questions I had though for everyone is when it comes to delays for video games, usually that means that they're adding stuff, or they're just wanting to polish it, or they also have some, issues with it. How do you feel about delays with movies? Do you think they kind of fit out the same way, or is it just more so like an oh no situation?
I'm always of the mindset, more so with video games, because I feel like, we learned, I think the world learned the lesson of Cyberpunk last year. Like, do not fucking release a game, no matter who, like, no matter if the suits and like the board members are barking at you going, fuck you, you've had 8 years to do this, release it now. It doesn't matter. If a game is not ready, don't release it. If a film is not ready, or you think you can make it better, I think they have an obligation to do that, because the last thing that, these movies are forever, bro. Like, it's like, I genuinely, like, and I hate taking shots at like Venom and stuff like that, but like genuinely, I do not understand how Tom Hardy and Andy Serkis made that movie and turned around and said, fuck yeah, we're ready to release this bitch. Like, how the fuck did that happen? Like, that movie was dog shit, bro. Dog shit. So bad. Like, and I'm just like, how did they finish that film and go, final cut, we're done, there you go, enjoy, Sony, release that bitch? Like, I don't get it. And like,
I'm glad you had time to watch it.
I can't imagine them writing that movie and then like watching it back being like, this is gonna kill in the theaters. This is gonna get a lot of laughs right here.
Well, it makes a lot of sense to me, and I think, like, they're actors, they're filmmakers themselves. They have to know that the movie's not good. I'm sorry. Like, I know you kind of are a little blind when it's your own creation. You kind of think it's a bit better than it is or whatever. I would be more critical than anything. I'm always real critical of anything I make, rather than being, overhyped or whatever. But it seems to me that they knew that it was going to be a bit of a flop. It wasn't going to, reach expectations. So that's why I think that they made this like after credit scene, and why they definitely leaked it themselves, because they needed that publicity to get the people in, because without that after credit scene, oh Jesus, bro, like oh
yeah, no one's going to see it.
That wouldn't have been a great stinger.
Yeah,
I would say my take on like reshoots and stuff, like with movies, I have no problem with reshoots and delays. It's actually like really common in Hollywood. Like they're reshooting stuff all the time because they're like, hey, we need this scene. Yeah. This part of the script didn't work out the way we thought it was going to. That's fine. The thing that makes me really nervous about in the MCU is having these reshoots. It's not that they're adding like little scenes here or there. It's that they're like, hey, we're gonna reshoot this and we're gonna add a bunch of characters. It's like, what? Why? Why don't you have this figured out? You don't know who you want to be in this part of the movie, like who you want to bring into the MCU, like what? Like that's like nerve-wracking to me, and that it doesn't really make Phase 4 or Phase 5 going out of it like bode well, because if they don't have the idea of what they want to do locked in, and they've had all this time to figure that out, like it's just rough, man. Like, if they're recutting it to add Xavier in, like why are you bringing Xavier in? Like what's the game plan? What's the end goal there? Is it to introduce the mutants? And if that's the end goal, why wasn't he in there in the first place? Like I don't know what the deal is. I guess we'll see. Like I give faith to Sam Raimi. The Doctor Strange 1 was fantastic. Marvel, usually lands on the better side of movies and then worse. But the fact that they are this late in it, saying we're adding new characters to this movie, that's tough, man. That makes me nervous.
Yeah, like, well, with Xavier, there's been rumors around of Xavier for a while now, and there was even like some behind the scenes photos released of, I think I spoke about this before, the Ultron robots with that were bringing him in, and apparently they're bringing him in front of the Illuminati, and that was going to be the scene that he was in. But now I wonder, is it like, fuck, everybody's like wanting mutants and stuff like that? Do we need to kind of cast a couple of mutants or something just to kind of kickstart this earlier than expected? Because and I know there's a lot of people out there that are saying like, oh, they're delaying it because that Batman trailer was so good and all this stuff. Like, it's like
that can't be it.
No, it's not, of course not. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, and I genuinely, like, I'm a big fan of both. I hate the whole one or the other. Like, I hate people like that. Like, how the fuck can you pick one over the other? Like, we're blessed to have both. Why do you need to have a favorite? Like, it's so stupid to me. Like, it's like, this Batman movie looks really good. Great. That's fantastic. It's not going to take away anything from the MCU. And the MCU, they're not going to, like, influence each other at all. Like I know apparently, Feige had said that him hearing about the plans for the Flash movie wanted him to accelerate the the multiverse in the MCU. And like I see that, I hear that as a compliment. Like I don't hear that as a challenge, or I don't think there's this kind of versus culture with these two companies as people like to try and say that there is. Like this is across all the fandoms, like, you know what I mean? Like if you go deep into the Star Wars fandom, it's prequels versus originals and fucking the originals versus the sequels and all this shit. Like it's like,
Yeah.
just be a fan, like just watch all the shit. Like Jesus.
Yeah.
I want to pick up back off what Drnkie said too, and I think it is kind of scary to have them be thinking about adding new characters in this late, if that's the case, because the thing that has always made the MCU kind of slap is when you see something 7 movies ago or 7 movies later that ties into something 7, and you're like, man, they've had this all planned out like this long. Like they knew this would, like, they knew all this was happening back then, and that's what makes things hit harder. And if they're like trying to add in stuff now, it's like that must not be kind of the same track that we're on right now. This seems almost like a panic state, like, maybe they're setting up something 7 years from now, but it doesn't build confidence in me.
My understanding of when I read that was that I think that they're gonna pick stuff from the future to bring in now, like stuff that like they wanted to bring in down the road that they're maybe just gonna bring in a little earlier just to increase impact. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, they probably had a plan for 2023 24 to introduce the mutants, and they weren't going to touch them until then. And maybe now it's like, okay, we'll bring a mutant in, like a 616 mutant in, or something like that, like, you know, where it's like Multiverse of Madness is going to get crazy. We're going to be introduced to Fox mutants and all this shit. Like there's Fox villains and Sony villains and all this stuff coming in. Like this is all confirmed. So it's like, shit, maybe we need to actually get a 616 character. Like, a lot of the rumors around Spider-Man is that, like, at the end of the movie, Tom Holland's character is going to go and look for the 616 Norman Osborn. And it's going to be, obviously, a different character to Willem Dafoe. And, he, like, you know, it's like, I think that they're maybe trying to do something like that. Like, maybe they give us a Logan or something like that. Like, I don't know if it's going to be Wolverine, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was a Storm or something like that, just to kind of bring the 616 forward. Mutant.
I mean, during acquisition, are they automatically given the rights to the characters immediately, or do they have a certain time frame? Because it's possible that it didn't, spring upon them that they could use them right away. Maybe they need a little bit more time before like it was relinquished. And now that they're available, and now that they have all these different projects going on, maybe it's running through their minds now. It's like, oh, like, well, if we're going to be doing this in this area, then there's certain characters that can be introduced in the meantime to kind of introduce them, just like you said. Like we can bring them in faster, like, but it's cutting into the fact that we're, delaying everything in the meantime as well, which sucks. But if they're like, oh, well, this fits well in the setting for this movie, because this is similar to what happened in the comics, then it's a nice little splice, but it could also be very dangerous. It's so hard to take.
Yeah,
I think the first mutant needs to be a villain.
The what?
Magneto.
I think the first mutant needs to be a villain.
Magneto.
I think
it'd be amazing.
I think we're late on. Like, I think we're late on Doom and the Fantastic Four. Like, we need those guys in. Like, I'm like, as much as I want the X-Men, we need the Fantastic Four to come in. Like, we need the smart minds to come in. Like, they need to start bringing in the people that are actual masterminds that can actually create additional movies based on the fact that they exist in the universe now.
Can you imagine?
How dare you disrespect Beast like that?
Can you imagine?
McCoy has a brilliant mind, sir.
He does.
Hank McCoy is very brilliant.
Can you imagine a Fantastic Four film done correct? Like,
no,
I
can't right now. But what I'm saying is, let's imagine
they're not going to do it correct anymore. They're not, because they already have it set in stone in the 2000s movies, like with the negative zone affecting all 5 of them instead of just the 4 of them, and Doom being on Earth, learning sorcery. Like, they don't explain that. Like, they don't make Doom a sorcerer. And because of that, it doesn't feel as concrete. It just feels like, oh man, a bunch of friends, one gets jealous, and then that's it. No, like, Doom literally hates these guys before they go out into space.
Yeah, no, but what I mean is like when the 616 will probably do it correctly. So what I'm saying is like, how amazing is that going to be? Like when we actually see the story told correctly, like, because I think they'll do. I think they will do it right. You know, Feige, as far as I know, is a massive Fantastic Four fan, so I'd say he will stay very close to the original text, like the original content.
I would say this: the only way they could do it right is if they bring them from the past, because I don't think like the Fantastic Four is like a really, really wholesome family. And that's just like not something that exists nowadays. Like that type of family unit just doesn't really get created. And so like I think they gotta like bring them from the past, have them like a 1960s type of family, nuclear family, and have them feel like fish out of waters. Like what is this modern world? Like they almost gotta give them the Captain America treatment, where they don't understand why things are the way they are, and like you know, they have this is the right way to do things, and they kind of like clash with that to create friction points in the MCU against all the other characters. I think it would be good with that. Other than that, man, I don't see them. I mean, and maybe I'm just, you know, jaded. It's just it's hard for me to imagine that they can actually get the Fantastic Four to work, and maybe they're just not able to work in the movies. Maybe they're just a comic book thing, and if Marvel can't pull it off, no one can. So
yeah, like, do you think like I can't imagine Marvel, like the MCU, I can't imagine them releasing a Fantastic Four movie and it being as bad as the 2 that we got, or 3 that we got, you know? I can't. Well, there was 2 with like Chris Evans and stuff, and then there was there was 2 like kind of origins or whatever. Two sets of Fantastic Four, but yeah, like I don't know.
I feel like it has to be soon too, because if like they've shown with the Celestials are going to be mentioned or at least somewhat explained here in the Eternals, which means, you know, eventually I feel like Galactus has to be in the near future for the MCU if they're going to use him at all, and to use him and not the Silver Surfer would just be silly. I don't know.
I mean, this would be perfect timing because, as we've said in the previous podcasts, like we're at a point in the Marvel phases where it's not so much mechanical beings or you know, it's still cosmic at a point, but it's cosmic and it's magical. You know, it's sorcery. It's things that revolve around cosmic energy, sorcery, and such, which is exactly what Doom is like known for. He is a person that like is brilliant of the mind, is a fantastic sorcerer. He almost was a candidate for, well, he was a candidate for the Sorcerer Supreme. And like he's like, this is the time. We're getting Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
I'm like, Sorcerer Supreme. Nah.
I still gotta get your glass, Finto.
I got a cup that says so.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it says Dr. Crunk.
If Doom doesn't have his own cup that says Sorcerer Supreme, then he's not.
It ain't official.
Yeah. But it's just so cool, man. Like you could even make an entire movie about Doom. And yes, he would be the protagonist, but it'd be like an evil genius kind of movie, similar to like when you see Megamind or, you know, other such movies.
How does he get his powers? What are his origins?
He was born with, I think his mother was like part of a ritual and she was killed.
Okay, so he's not like a mutant or anything like that? He's not tied into... Okay.
No, but he's tied with the mystic arts, like very harsh. Like it's very, very much a lot of mystic arts. And so like, you know, as he grows up, he's a brilliant mind. He works alongside, you know, Richards and stuff, but Richards is a dick and literally makes fun of Doom, calling him like Dr. Doof and stuff like that. And Doom just hates him. So he tries to conduct an experiment. And I think Richards causes him to like lose focus. And during the experiment, there's an explosion. It messes up his face. And therefore he has to get a metal mask placed upon him. And I think I can't remember who designs it, but it's like magically designed. And then he goes off to, you know, create his own country of Latveria, which like that could be a movie in and of itself.
Yeah, for sure.
Like the empire that he just creates. And then just at the end of that movie would be like his disgust for the Fantastic Four.
Imagine they did it that way. And then the end of the movie is the introduction of the Fantastic Four. So we introduced Doom first. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be cool. It'd be good to kind of, because the characters and the movies and like that franchise is just so tainted. So like I think they really need to flip the script when relaunching that. They can't do another origin story because everyone's just gonna be like, oh, I've seen this twice before and it's fucking shit. You know, so it's kind of a bad taste is in the mouth already. Whereas if they do it like they do Doom first and then kind of bring Reed Richards in or whatever, or like Reed is part of like a flashback or something like that, and they're like, oh my god, it's Reed Richards, and then it goes from there. Like, do you remember how excited everybody was when they thought Reed Richards was going to show up in WandaVision? Like, everyone was freaking out.
Yeah.
That's the way you got to do it. You got to do it something like that. Like, I don't think you just go dive straight into like the incident where they become the Fantastic Four.
The only problem that I find with them just being introduced and not having another origin is the fact that, like, where the hell were you? And yes, they can explain it with another type of, they can use the quantum realm as a scapegoat. The quantum realm, time, all that kind of stuff that can be used to basically say, like, they weren't here because they were trapped in such and such. But that just seems so cliche. Like, I would love,
It's lazy.
Kind of, yeah, it is lazy. I would love what Drnkie said, like, have a 1960s.
You're gonna call it that lazy, but you're on board for all the Spider-Man nonsense? Hey, multiverse, get on in here, everybody. Come on.
Yeah, bro.
Lazy.
Spider-Verse
As soon as
is
it's
not
not
lazy. Spider-Verse is not
Imagine this.
lazy. How dare you?
Yeah, it is. It's completely lazy. Here's all these characters that all these other directors and movies built up for our franchise here. We're just gonna throw them in there. So imagine this: the Fantastic Four, all of them, they're like kind of operating in Shield, right? They're Shield people in the 1960s or whatever. All this stuff is going on, so they're kind of like agents already. They have abilities. They don't have like their superhero abilities, but they have, they can fight. They can do espionage. Like they know what they're doing. They're Shield agents, right? And their family that's working with Shield. And then they discover the quantum realm because Hank Pym's been working on this stuff, and they work with Hank Pym. They go into the quantum realm, and then they come out, and it's like 2021, and what the fuck is going? Or 2026 in the MCU? Like, what the hell is going on?
Hell yeah.
Telling
dude.
you,
Hell yeah.
this is the way you do it.
Oh my god.
Oh, you got a big boy raid from the
Yeah.
Yara show.
Gara show. Thank you so much for the raid, brother. 20 people. Let's go. Welcome in, everybody.
Hey.
Big chats with the lads. Yeah, sorry guys, we're going deep on a Marvel kind of nerd out at the moment. So welcome to the podcast, everyone. Hopefully you guys are Marvel fans. Yeah, Jesus, like I don't like I love what you're saying. I think it's a great idea. I think it kind of mirrors the Steve Rogers story though a lot because
Yes.
That's
we need.
Yeah, I suppose. Like, without Steve
That's what
Rogers,
we
I
need.
suppose you need something like that, more like that, I suppose, to kind of replace it. I understand what you mean, yeah, 100%.
So if you were to think about it this way, though, like, let's say in order to set up for that movie, you need an after credits scene from one of the movies that we currently know. Which one would you throw it in? But like,
Well, see,
and it, well,
Doctor
okay.
Strange.
Yes, and that's when I was thinking, but we also have Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, which seems very likely because of the plot that you've already thrown down. But if we were to do Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, I think that would be much more fun, especially if it was just like, what if it's just an alternate universe Reed Richards too? Like, it could just be that fun, just like as a cheap little like laugh, just to be like, yeah, we're aware that you guys are waiting for the Fantastic Four, but we wanted to throw this funny moment, which could, like, for most people, some people might take it as a middle finger, but I would say Quantumania would be the safer route. Because then, they could continue to go in there. They could start collecting Pym particles, and as they're collecting Pym particles, they're like, it's one of those ones like, hey, what are you doing here? And, turn around as Fantastic Four.
Yeah. Yeah. Big time. Yeah, so I think, do you want to dive into Ragnarok?
Let's talk
We haven't,
Ragnarok.
we haven't even talked about Ragnarok yet.
Oh,
So-
speaking of taking a whole bunch of
No,
information
wait.
from different comics and then throwing them in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So anyone
Ragnarok
anyone who's just joined us, we're literally going over. We just spoke about Black Panther. We, in between all the new Marvel content, we're doing a rewatch of the MCU in timeline order. So at the moment, we're about to just jump into Thor Ragnarok. That's where we are in the timeline this week. So, yeah, Alex. I know Alex on our team here. He's like the biggest Hulk fan out of the lot of us. So this is a big Hulk movie. It's probably my favorite Banner moments in the MCU, to be honest. Like I just love the banter between him and Thor. You know, the whole Planet Hulk thing is great. So talk to us, Alex. Tell us all.
Yeah, I don't think that Sakaar should have been used as a planet for Ragnarok. I get what they were trying to do, and I get that they had the plot in mind and that they had the setting all figured out, but they just utterly take out what makes Hulk so enjoyable, like in terms of Planet Hulk.
Planet Hulk. It's like 3 stories they kill with that. Planet Hulk, World War Hulk. It's like 3 to 4 stories they kill by using Sakaar in this movie.
Exactly. Like you even have Beta Ray Bill, and he's nowhere to be found. You just see a statue of his face, and that to me was like a big middle finger. Like that would have been so cool. Like as much as I enjoyed a lot of the scenes, and I thought it was really enjoyable altogether for a movie, it just doesn't feel comfortable. It doesn't feel like it's its own movie. Like it's you could call it Thor and Hulk. You could literally call it Thor and Hulk. Like Thor shows up in the other world, finds Hulk, and now it's just Hulk and Thor hanging out. And then, you know, Loki shows up here and there. He helps out. Korg shows up, and Korg is like, he's a softie now. It's kind of weird. Like it's in the comics and in the movies. Like for Planet Hulk, you see Korg is like this battle hardened guy. He knows what he has to do for his people. He's trying to win and survive. You know, and then you have Meek, who's like this bug guy who's like part of the planet with all the other bug guys, and then like he's trying to survive as well. Like it builds up that team that Hulk gets, which then leads to World War Hulk. This they just turn Korg and Meek into like comic relief.
I really love it's good comic relief though.
It is good.
It's hilarious.
It's really
Korg
good.
is
Yeah,
so good in this movie.
And I love it. Like I love that. Like I don't have a single problem with their comic relief. It's just, you know, like any other planet. Like give me something else. Like if you're gonna show the contest of champions,
any other planet.
Yes.
There's so many of them.
Like obviously, like you're the biggest Hulk fan on this podcast, and like, you know, probably one of the top ones nationwide. But like
He's ranked.
Got the best
he's
rates
ranked.
anywhere.
yeah, he's ranked. Check the ladders. I just, you know, as someone who's not like the biggest Hulk fan and kind of like sees the perspective on it, I think they gave them running room to take all this stuff away because they don't think that they're going to get all those Hulk movies made. And they I know there's rumors of them making it now, but I think they give it to the director because even if they make one more Hulk movie, they're not going to cover all the Hulk content that they're putting into this movie. Like I think it's fine that they took all those and put them into this because it made Ragnarok like a really great movie. And I know it gets bashed now, but like on the rewatch, I realized like this is still one of the best action movies I think I've ever seen. Like the pacing of it is incredible. Like it's just constantly moving. Yeah. The humor for sure, maybe there's a little too much here or there for people, but it never like the jokes don't land. Like the jokes don't not land. They're all funny. They all got you laughing.
Like
and maybe you don't want to laugh that much, but you're laughing. Like it's a fantastic movie and a fantastic use of all the IPs.
Taika Waititi is a comedic genius. Like you gotta hand it to him. Like and just even him playing Korg is just fantastic. Like Korg is just one of the funniest characters in the MCU, and it just lands. Like I feel I know exactly what you're saying. Like sometimes there's too much comedy in it, and like I think the MCU has kind of turned Thor into like comic relief now at this point. Like whereas, you know, we see at the end of Infinity War, he is, in my opinion, the strongest Avenger. Like, you know, so it's like, you know, I just, yeah, like I understand where you're coming from, but like this movie, like just even from the start, it's just full of laughs. The action's incredible. CGI, like I have no faults with this. Like this movie is probably, it's definitely top 5. It could even be top 3 for me. It's one of the best MCU movies like ever currently.
Yeah,
now
I'm not trying to turn down that this isn't a great movie. I'm just trying to turn down the fact that they took resources, and I agree with Drnkie. Like they were probably thinking they're never going to get a Hulk movie. They're never going to get anything out. Let's just use what resources we can use to create another story pertaining to Ragnarok. But at the very least, like if we're given the contest of champions by the Grandmaster, can we get some more fights? And I understand that the flow was made to be that they get there, they do one fight, and then they escape, and then they have some more fights in between. And it's a string. It's a really nice string of fights. But like we get a glimpse of the contest of champ. Like, are we ever going to get that again? Like, will the I don't think so. But why not? Like, we had Beta Ray Bill like show up on the statues. We had like Silver Surfer could show up even.
But like, it's just a fight it's just a gladiator fight in an arena, and there's only so much you can do that makes that interesting to the story. Like, now that we know that Beta Ray Bill is like part of the contest of champion, he's that big, he can show up somewhere else in the MCU, and you're like, oh shit, like that dude is from Zakar as like the tournament champions, and now he's got this like, instead of seeing him fight, he's got this like mystery about him. Like, what can he actually do? We know it's going to be amazing. Like I love that about stories where they don't tell you or show you everything that happens in someone's past. And it's just like, you know they're that good. Mm-hmm. So I kind of like that they don't really reveal Beta Ray Bill or show him fighting there. Because when he does show up, if he does, you know he's going to slap. You know he's going to bring it. And even non-comic book people who pay attention to the MCU are going to know.
You know, I can agree with that, only for the fact that when we saw Shang-Chi, if we saw a little bit of Abomination, I was upset. So, like, I get that. I can totally agree with that.
Yeah.
I think I was just more so, I think, saddened by the fact that it was spliced together. But it did work very well. Like, I watched it with Katie and we were laughing, we were having fun. We couldn't take our eyes off the screen. Like, it's a good, like a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like the internal gripes.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine?
It's like,
go ahead, Kyle, sorry.
I would say it's like ordering a double cheeseburger and getting a single. It's like, you're still going to eat it. It's still going to taste good. But man, that whole extra patty would have been something else, huh? And I'm in a unique position because I've been going through a lot of Hulk stories lately, and I know where he's coming from. Originally on Sakaar, like, the Hulk, kind of like the old school Gladiator movie, wins the whole tournament, kind of wins his freedom, finds a family, starts like a family, like pretty much takes like political lead over the planet. Like, it's crazy. And then something happens that makes him have to return to Earth, and he's just on this warpath. And it's like knowing all the possibilities that this could have been, and then to see it kind of all fiddle out in this one movie. I understand where you're coming from, but then I also see where Drnkie's coming from. The Hulk on the big screen has not had the best track record, and you're really, with every movie that has the Hulk, is either like, that's why they put it. This could have been its own movie. This movie was centered around the Hulk a lot, but he's not even in the title because they're afraid. Yeah. They're afraid to put him in the title. I think.
Dude, could you?
So I think that's where it's at.
Could you imagine if this movie came out, right? And I know we live in a kind of like spoiler culture, and like, you know, the movie studios giving away way too much with trailers and stuff like that. But could you imagine if you walked into this movie, sat down, and you did not know that the Hulk was in this film at all, and then
hit so hard.
Oh my god! Like when he comes bursting through the door, could you imagine? Like, it's Hulk. You'd be like, what? Yeah. Like, it would be incredible. Like, you know, like Chris Hemsworth's reaction when he sees him. Like, that would have been everybody in the theater as well. Like, you know, it was just, I think, like,
he's been gone for so long. Like, like ever since Age of Ultron is when he leaves. Like, he's gone. And then he just like comes in this. Like, you're right, man. That would have been amazing.
They wrote it. They wrote the whole movie up until that point as if you don't know, but then they ruin it with like you said, with the trailers and stuff. Because the whole movie before then, everyone's like, "Oh, I wonder who this big champion." Like, even Thor has a couple lines. "Wonder who this big bad champion is." And it's like, we all knew sitting there at that time, "Oh, hey, it's about to be the Hulk. You're gonna see the Hulk." But like, if we all would have went in there with that same mystery that Thor had in that moment, that would have been probably one of the biggest.
Like, you know, when you see the green smoke grenades going off in the crowd and stuff.
Yeah, we would have been like, wait a second.
What? Oh, it would have been so good.
You know what? I just thought about it. We could totally go back to Sakaar, but not for Planet Hulk, just for the fact that we could do Marvel Contest of Champions.
There you go.
You told, like, Grandmaster's not dead.
Well, wasn't when Planet Hulk, when he goes there, it's not even like the Grandmaster. Isn't someone called like the Red King or something?
Yeah, I think it's the Red King, and he's basically he's also a prince, and he watches over the contest, or like the gladiator games, and every subsequent battle is with the Hulk, and they think that Hulk is just easily able to be taken down, and then Kyra, which is like the Red King's right hand like person, you know, see something in Hulk and they're trying to investigate what's causing like the spikes to hit like the planet because there's this virus that's going on, and Hulk is literally implanted with the chip that allows him to communicate with everyone. But he speaks clearly beforehand. He just couldn't understand them. And so like throughout the entire show, or like in the movies or in the comics, he's basically just fighting to win and to be able to beat down the Red King. He doesn't care about anybody else. But the story in between is for the fact that like the people there see him as the main guy to take down the Red King and to overthrow and to become the new king.
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna say. We could go back to Sakaar with the Red King in power at that point. So we still have, because they use the collector / grandmaster for this movie, or not the collector, but they use the grandmaster for this movie with Jeff Goldblum's character. And so I don't ever remember when I had went through the World War Hulk and Planet Hulk. I don't ever remember them mentioning Master. So I was confused by that watching this.
And that's how. Like with Thor, I get why they wanted to do a lot of like comedic takes and like certain action sequences, because they had such funny characters, funny actors to like run the show. Like if you get Jeff Goldblum, how is it not going to be funny?
Oh, yeah.
Like he pulls in the room. Yeah. He's the big legend. Like
the button, he's like, this looks like guns. It's the happy birthday button.
Yeah.
So good.
It's my birthday.
I love when he melts your man and he's like, oh, let's get on my shoe. It's just like, he's so eccentric, like it's just hilarious. So
pardon you from life.
Yeah.
Most of you would assume that I'm millions of years old, but in Sakaar.
Yeah, he just stops. Oh, he's such a fucking funny bastard, man.
Yeah,
I love
he
him.
nailed that role.
He's so
he
also
really
in
did.
that vein, I think Anthony Hopkins turns in like a performance that's like way too good for the MCU. Like him saying goodbye, like to his sons, like that was intense, man. Like, it was a fantastic scene.
Yeah.
Frigga is calling me.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are you the god of hammers?
Yeah.
He's so good. He's so subtle.
I feel like Thor went down from power after this movie so much.
You think so?
Yeah, I don't think he doesn't ever like hammer, like they turn him back into like needing a weapon again. They turn him back into like
I see what you're saying.
Crutch. Yeah. I think that they needed more. They needed to carry his God of Thunder, like him making that transition in this movie. They needed to carry that more going forward. Yeah, give him Stormbreaker too. But like he was literally doing freaking spinny twister dives.
He was riding
Thunder. Yeah, and like he just went down in power after this movie, in my opinion. He got the Loki treatment before Loki did.
Do you think he's like grieving? And like maybe like it's just that he's not like 100% in it. Like there's a lot going on for him as a character in that film. He finds out he has a sister. She's like the most evil thing in the world, and like literally his home planet gets destroyed. His father dies. Like everything.
Mjolnir before him.
Exactly. Like
hammer. Like,
literally, he's
I'm just a replacement.
The character is just getting beaten from the very beginning of this film. Like it's such a tough film for him. And then Infinity War comes around and he's like taken the power of a star. So like he's like the most powerful thing in the MCU. So like for me, I think and it's great. I love the bridge fight scene at the end, like when the tune kicks in again, and it's like he's just like blowing people apart like with lightning and everything. Like, it's such a fantastic scene to watch. Like absolutely love it.
I love that song, but I always forget the title of it. I always forget the title. Like even if you tell me now, I could forget
if you
later.
wouldn't have asked me, like
someone Google it there.
You're going after it. It's probably one of like the most spot on.
It's like
songs.
It's about Valhalla and everything. Like you know what I mean? It's perfect. Like it's perfectly
made.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Immigrant song. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, like me being a fan of the comics. I always have my gripes, especially with Hulk. And one of the things about that is for the fact that they do show Hela as the long lost sister, and it's like, where are the other gods? Where's Tyr? Where's Balder? Like they're in the comics. It's like if they're off doing whatever else, then I would love to see them come back later. But the Warriors 3 being gone, that really irked me.
I would imagine we're going to see him in Love and Thunder. I think there's a good chance, man, with the way that they're bringing in Zeus, with the way that Christian Bale's character is the god killer. Like, I think we'll see him killing some gods. And, like, how many gods are there? You know, it's like we only know a couple.
If we get Zeus, we're probably getting Hercules, right? Because, like, in the comics, Hercules and Thor were really good friends. And, like, Henry Cavill Thor. Or Henry Cavill Hercules, putting it out there. Imagine.
That always is like weird to me that Hercules is in the MCU. I don't know. It's always been weird to me that like.
Bro, Santa Claus is in the MCU, man. You just gotta go with it.
Wait, Santa Claus is in the MCU?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, not the MCU, but Marvel Comics. Yeah.
That's okay.
He's canon.
Does he kick ass?
I would honestly bring back Lou Ferrigno to do like a cast of Hercules, just for the fact that he's a big dude.
Yeah, he's also like 80 now, isn't he? I don't think he can.
I know.
Oh, he looks fantastic for his age, man. That dude still works out. Like, you know, Schwarzenegger's taking a little bit of a break. He still looks fantastic, but Lou Ferrigno's been doing great.
I'm about to look up Lou Ferrigno 2021.
I think Henry Cavill would be a fantastic cast for Hercules for the MCU.
I think
just to get him in.
Isn't that a little small for Henry Cavill?
Not if they expand it and like it goes on to him potentially getting like, you know, a team up movie or something like that, or you know, he becomes part of the Guardians or something crazy, like, you know, like I think there's definitely, I think if they can land him, they'll 100% use him, you know. Yeah,
I definitely think they'll use him, but I don't know. Hercules, like, he's not like the biggest dude in the comic books. Like I just feel like there's other roles. I mean, I would take him as a Reed Richards for, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I'm there for that.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, to me that's always weird having those kind of like mythology characters in there. But then again, I'm saying that in the same vein that we just watched Thor Ragnarok with Odin and all them. But me, it was like I don't know. It's like pick one mythos. So it's weird to have like kind of two, to have Greek and then also Norse in the same.
But that's like the cool part is like, because why would those mythos be here? It's because they're gods from outer space.
Yeah. I mean, it would be good if they like played on it to where like when we had Odin around, if he was like cracking jokes about how Zeus was a bitch, Zeus, like, you know, something like that. That'd be good.
We could do it similar to like how Balder said in God of War. He's like, you know, and you people are supposed to be much smarter than us, more enlightened. I would love that. Henry Cavill is Balder. Screw it.
Do it. I just also think this movie, like, I was thinking a lot about this movie after the rewatch and kind of like what a lot of stuff is going on in modern times. And it's kind of like the pitch perfect movie for a, you know, civilization and a group of people who kind of have this like fake history that they think they know. And then like it kind of starts to unravel. You start to see like how, oh yeah, are we the bad guy? Like, are we doing bad shit? And we just like, everyone paints over it with like beautiful murals and we don't know what's really going on underneath it. And that's why I think it's perfect that they have fucking Immigrant Song in this movie as it's playing. It's like this whole deal. It's like everything's changing with it. Yeah. It just, I don't know. I thought for a movie that was made when it was, is a little bit ahead of its time with that coming out.
Oh, quick question, Drnkie. You know how in Thor: The Dark World they had a showcase of all like the weaponry on Asgard? Mm-hmm. Do you think that the reason why none of that weaponry was activated during Hela's like coming was for the fact that she either like snuck in, or because she's a goddess that used to live on Asgard and therefore like they're not designed to like attack their like homeland people?
Yeah, I don't know. I've never even thought about that, to be honest with you.
Because they were ready. They were ready to fight Hela. Like they had the army sitting out, like standing out there.
Yeah. And
ready to go. So like, you know, you would think that they would at least pull up the defenses or something.
Yeah, they just kind of rolled over for her, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because they didn't have someone to lead them like Thor or Odin, you know? They were like, oh, okay, never mind. We're just being told what to do.
We all lay down like marshmallows and get roasted. But other than that,
I think I can really tell from this timeline rewatch even though some of these were watching out of order, like how they came out in the real world, they really kind of, you can tell we're towards the ends of the watch. They really, like, we're in the part right now where they found their stride. Every one of these movies is hitting really well. The rewatch value on like the past 2 weeks has been fantastic.
It only gets better too. Like, you know, we've got
and
now
we've only
next,
got better movies.
Yeah, like Avengers and everything coming up next. Like, it's just crazy. Like, up to the end of Phase 3 is just fucking nutty. Like,
So
nutty.
I really hope that the delay we mentioned earlier, the 6-month delay with Doctor Strange 2 and all the other movies, behind that is going to be correlated to them kind of finding that stride again. If they can find that stride that like we're re-experiencing when they were in it last time, right now with these watch throughs, and these movies are holding up multiple years later. We're enjoying them. We still have lots of good things to say about them. Whereas a lot of the content they've released this year, we're kind of just like, about. We're like, we've had better reviews on all their old content this year on this podcast than we have on any of their new content. So I'd really love for them to find that stride again and to just pull us all back in, because, I mean, we want them to succeed as much as they want to succeed, because we want to see good stuff.
We start calling it the messy you. The messy you. Terrible joke.
Oh, jeez.
Well, like, you know, we've got
even Drnkie.
just still this year, within the space of like 4 weeks of each other, nearly, or 5 weeks of each other, we have Eternals and Spider-Man. Like, that's crazy. Like, there's like 6-week gap between the two of them, and like that's all going to be happening towards the end of this year. Like, that's just like that'll keep us happy for a while. Hawkeye starts on the 24th of November as well, so we have, like, Hawkeye will begin before Spider-Man. So, and then I think they, as far as I know, I heard that I think it's episode, like the second last episode of the show, runs at the same timeline and the same week as the release of Spider-Man. So you'll watch the Hawkeye episode, then you'll go to the cinema, see Spider-Man 3, and the events of that two content is happening at the exact same time. Which is crazy. Which is crazy.
Mind blowing.
It's crazy. They're doing it IRL and in the movie. The timelines match up.
I'm ashamed of you, Finto. You can really tell that this delay's not hitting you as hard since Spider-Man wasn't included. Because it was only a week ago how we were talking about, oh man, Spider-Man and Doctor Strange gonna be the best two movies.
It is.
Look how quickly look how quickly you've moved on. Eternals and Spider-Man.
No. Yeah. I said it at the start of this podcast.
Leave me and Doctor Strange out of it. No.
I said it at the start of this podcast. It's very strange that we haven't even got a fucking official poster or anything. There's been nothing for Doctor Strange. The delay does not surprise me in the slightest. We should have if it was due to come out in February, we should have a trailer by now. 100%.
I hope they delay Spider-Man. I said it.
You think we should? I mean, look at the Spider-Man thing though. Like, we barely just got a trailer.
Yeah, but
that's coming out in like a hop and a sketch.
But yeah, but that
I see your point though.
I think that trailer was out like before though, right? And then as well, we had like hype build up in the summer where they did that skit where they released like the title of the movie and stuff like that. Like, you know, there was a lot of kind of media during the summertime and stuff. So it's not like it was just because, like, it seems like Doctor Strange, like, you know, you hear all of the rumors and speculations and stuff, but like the official news that's coming out about the movie is very little, you know. So
yeah,
I don't know. Like, you know, it's getting moved to June. I don't mind.
I always assumed the reason behind that was because Spider-Man was like the gatekeeper for Doctor Strange, and they weren't going to release. They couldn't do anything ahead of Spider-Man without spoiling something, and that was my assumption. Because again, what I said at the start of this podcast, I had assumed that these movies were so like hand in hand that it's blown my mind that they're gonna separate them by this much time.
I'm looking at a Variety post here, and they're talking about just like the original release dates and the move dates. So there's a couple of what's very interesting down here towards the end. There's a couple of, it just says untitled Marvel project previously dated for July 28th is removed from the schedule. Then it's like untitled Marvel project for the October 6th, 2023 removed from the schedule. So it's like they're like literally axing projects now, as well as doing delays. They're axing projects, which is crazy.
Well, and then we get the rumor that World War Hulk is possibly going to show up.
Yeah. And then they say,
I mean, maybe it's because Shang-Chi didn't pop the way they wanted it to, you know, and didn't get like it made money, sure, but like did it make the money they wanted it to, that they thought it was going to? So maybe they're starting to second guess kind of like their secondary or third string characters coming up into like that.
apparently the movie only cost them $250 million to make.
Alex, how can they do World War
That's
Hulk
a
without the
lot.
Illuminati?
Not really, when you think about how expensive movies used to be.
Oh,
And like if you think about all of the CGI and everything in that movie, like it didn't cost that much. I think it's like around the 200 million mark, which is very cheap when you think about all the CGI and everything that was involved in that film. There's a really interesting one here as well. Sorry, just real quick. Just it says untitled 20th century film. So is that like Fox? Like is that like Deadpool or like Task Force, or like X Force or something like that? Like the way they call it, a untitled 20th century film has been removed from the schedule. That's very interesting to me. Because like that seems like it's one of the Fox mergers that they had a plan for in 2023 has now been removed completely. So
can I
Alex
just real quick, on the money thing, on the budget, Thor Ragnarok cost them $180 million to make
wow,
versus the 250 for Shang-Chi. So I wonder if that's why they're starting to like reorganize the way they think about it.
That's like I can't believe how cheap that was to make. Like, because if you go back to even think about movies like in like the 2000s, like movies used to cost so much money to make. That's why like they were so obsessed with the box office, because they were like, we need to make our fucking money back because these movies are costing so much money to make. Now because like CGI is becoming so much easier to do, they're literally making they're making them so much cheaper now. So that what now, and especially this helps them out now when obviously the box office is down. If they make a movie for 150 million and it does like 600 million, like they're tripling the money basically, like so it's easy for them. But like obviously like Marvel, they know that they can make billion-dollar movies. Like they know this, like Spider-Man 2 was $1 billion movie, 1.1 billion, like Sony's highest grossing movie ever. They know that is possible. So I wonder, is half of it like down to they want to do reshoots, and then the other half is let's push it out as far as we can and pray that the world goes back to normal and we can get back to just releasing billion-dollar movies all the time. Because they're greedy fuckers, like that's what they want.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Doctor Strange is definitely one of the bigger ones that they have coming up. I mean, the Spider-Man. Maybe Spider-Man is gonna see again. If that's the thing, why wouldn't they have pushed Spider-Man 2 as well? Or like, why wouldn't they? Not Spider-Man 2, but Spider-Man as well. Why wouldn't they have pushed that back?
I think it's too close to the release to push it now. Like the movie's finished, it's done,
and they need a holiday movie.
Yeah,
it's a holiday. It's a Christmas movie now. Like what I mean. It's
a second ago,
massive.
Alex mentioned that they might be doing World War Hulk, which for me, my question, Alex, was how could they do that without the Illuminati? Because for anyone that doesn't know, the Illuminati is like a secret group that Tony Stark and just a couple of the Avengers, like some of the smartest people that you've ever seen in the comics. T'Challa, I believe, is on it.
Illuminati they'll be in the MCU by the time this movie comes around. Though.
But how do they have it? How do you have the Illuminati without Iron Man? Isn't he like the head of it?
Bringing it like the Illuminati that's going to come into it is like a multiversal Illuminati. So maybe they kind of use a couple of characters and form another one without Iron Man or whatever. Or you could have Tom Cruise.
Or you could have the Council of Reeds.
Yeah, and like even if they lose someone, they have this stuff all the time. It's like, how do you have the Avengers without like Wolverine? You know what I mean? It's like the people roll in and out of it, and they can put whoever they want in these bigger deals. So,
I mean, yeah, we don't have Iron Man, but we still have Doctor Strange. We can introduce Black Bolt. We can bring in, we could probably bring in some other people that have been introduced already. Like we could use Ronan as a character from the Illuminati. Like you have to have like a solid group that understands the world properly and knows assumes the best. And so that's the idea behind World War Hulk. I mean, for Planet Hulk, they sent Hulk out into space, and he found his way into Sakaar, conquered it. he was going to have a kid. An explosion occurred from the ship that landed on Sakaar, and it was from the Illuminati. And so that's why Hulk is pissed at the fact that like his whole planet was, or like that section of the city was destroyed, including his wife and unborn child. And so he goes back to Earth and is like, you guys have
warp.
Yes. The first person he encounters is Black Bolt on the moon, and Black Bolt tries to utter a word to Hulk, and he took a chunk off the moon, and then you see Hulk look at him and be like, "That all you got? Like I thought you were gonna be louder." And he grabs him by the neck, and you see like in the next scene, like Black Bolt's on the floor, and he comes to Earth, I think to either Manhattan or New York, and he's like, "You guys have 24 hours to bring me the heads of these people, and I want them here. Evacuate, get the hell out. We're fighting." And I'm like, yes, this is great. So like, I don't know how the plot's going to be now, because
I don't see MCU doing that sort of thing, to be honest.
It'd be so brutal.
Yeah,
it'd be way too brutal.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Although
it's so gnarly.
they are doing Wanda pretty, like, you know, they're going pretty close to like House of M and stuff with Wanda. Like, you know, she's gonna go full blown dark side. So maybe they can. You know, maybe.
I want to see Savage Hulk at some point, like full on Savage Hulk.
Yeah, that would be fantastic, especially for the fact that like, if I think they are getting ready to put out the Fantastic Four if they're going to do World War Hulk, because Reed Richards is essential to this point where they had to find some way to stop the Hulk, and it would be a great way for them to introduce the Sentry. Maybe, I don't know, like if they want to do a previous movie for Sentry, but that would be fantastic.
That's what Henry Cavill should be.
Yeah, that would, you know, it basically
Sentry.
would be the same thing. Same as Superman. Like he's
role.
incredibly powerful, like one of the most powerful people on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a variant of the super soldier serum called the Golden Sentry serum.
Nice.
And this, I forgot his name, but his name was Robert something, and he drank it, and he ended up getting all the powers. Now he's like immortal. He has the power of like 1 million exploding suns, and he's just crazy strong.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also mentally unstable for a while, and it shows in the comics as well. Like especially during World War Hulk, the only reason why it took so long for them to take down Hulk was the fact that the Sentry couldn't leave his house because he was agoraphobic and schizophrenic. And it's crazy. Like imagine him just standing out in front of the doorway while like New York is getting bombed. And the president has to go over there and be like, "Dude, you got to get out your house."
Yeah, that's crazy. Love it.
And like you see a glimpse of the World Breaker, like when Hulk just gets utterly angry to the point where every step he takes is about to destroy the planet.
Wow. Yeah, I hope they do some of these stories, bro. I love the passion that you have for the Hulk. Like, I want to see that in live action so that, you know, more of us can kind of get on your level. Like, because, you know, I just don't feel this way about the Hulk, and I would love to, because yeah, it's great.
But I like, if this rumor is true and Marvel is going to work on it, I do have faith that they will push it in a proper direction. And if it has to be funny, so be it. Because that's kind of Marvel's direction right now. They need to, they're trying to bring in a little extra like laughter in between, because it can get very dark for Hulk movies.
Yeah.
And it, like, as you've seen from the previous ones, like the one with Eric Bana is horrible, but they tried to make it very serious and it didn't work out too well. Actually, they made it really silly. You know, the Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton, that was actually like, I don't think there were very many like jokes put in there. It was all straight up, we got to get this guy.
Yeah.
So I mean, so like if the formula works for Marvel to just make some of the more serious characters like laughable at times, I get it. It's a more heartfelt thing and a more humanizing thing to make, you know, like Thor kind of silly, you know. Oh, I wasn't aware of that. You know, like those moments which really bring out the character of like, oh yeah, like, you know, I wasn't aware of that either as the viewer, you know?
Yeah.
And humanizing. That's always the case.
I heard a rumor, I don't know if this is actually official or whatever, but apparently what they're planning to do with this movie is that whatever the events of the She-Hulk show are, Like this is going to lead directly into Mark Ruffalo's own solo movie now eventually, like, you know. Because like I've listened to interviews with him before, and he's kind of been asked this a few times, like, you know, like, do you want to do your own movie, like, and he's always kind of said no. He's always kind of like, you know, I'm very happy with the role that I have. I'm happy to just be part of the team and, you know, have my parts in these movies, but like not do a solo film. So it'd be interesting to see if they've just come up with a really good idea that he just wants to now be a part of, or, you know, if something's changed and maybe he knows that you know, he's coming to an end in the MCU and he wants to go out on his own solo movie, kind of like what Black Widow did, you know. So yeah, time will tell. Like, but you know, like, it sounds like there's so much good Hulk like content that we haven't seen and that we like need to see. But now I'm worried, like, you know, is Ruffalo getting very old? He looked haggard in the last movie, and I don't know if it was like meant to be like that. But like at the end of Shang-Chi, like he looked 60, like he looked old, like really old, and he looked real frail and stuff. And I don't know if like it's just, you know, clever CGI to make it look like, you know, he's still suffering from the snap, but I worry that like Ruffalo doesn't have many years left in the role, and I don't want to see another recast, bro. Like, I'm so sick of recasts for Hulk. And it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense in the MCU either, like, you know. So we're going to be in the similar situation where it's just going to be like, do we retire a character now again, or are we going to recast and just doesn't work for me. Especially,
I mean, we're at the same amount of recasts as with Spider-Man. It's about 2.
But it's not in the MCU. I'm talking about
That's true. Plus, they actually have good movies.
I'm talking about the MCU though, like just solely, like, and yes, yeah, like, you know, you can't, especially back then, you can't bring Andrew in as Spider-Man into the MCU. Like, you know, I understood why that reboot happened, and the same with Ruffalo. He was rebooted to be brought into the MCU. Like, we're not seeing reboots happening, you know, unless there's some real world shit getting in the way in the MCU. Like, you know, it's not like someone going, I'm hanging it up, like, you know, I'm finished, my contract's up, like, and they're not going, okay, grand, yeah, we'll just reboot the characters to keep them going. Like, it's like they're getting rid of people, like, they're killing characters off. Like, we don't have another Tony Stark. Tony Stark is dead. Like, they killed him off because RDJ was done, you know? So, like, it seems that's going to be, they're cutting characters out instead of, like, recasting or replacing, you know?
But the replacing Edward Norton was Edward Norton's fault.
Well, yeah, of course. He wanted creative control, and they wouldn't give it to him. So, is like,
I think he should have relented and just been like, all right, whatever, let me be in, because now he's lost out on all this, you know, additional cash.
Crazy amounts of money, and he would have been a superstar as well. But, you know, like, I gotta respect him in a way, because, like, you know, he had his vision. He's a massive fan of the character, and he wanted to direct and star, and they were like, look, you know, we need to bring other directors in, and, you know, we can't give you as much creative control as you had in the first one. And he was like, yeah, see you later, I'm walking, like, you know, and I respect him for that. But at the same time, yeah, he probably should have just stayed in and cashed it. But do you think, like, do the movies work as well? Like, I love Edward Norton, but do the movies work as well with him there? Do you think?
No.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Ruffalo,
I think Mark Ruffalo has played the best Bruce Banner we've seen.
Yeah.
Like, he's like the definitive Bruce Banner in my mind. Like, he plays the part perfectly. Like, he's not too subtle. He's not like, he nails exactly where he needs to be as a character to be.
Yeah.
Like, I love him in the role, man.
Fantastic.
It was kind of like how Drnkie during your stream, how you were talking about the different characters that could, or different actors that could be cast for the role of, like, Nathan Drake and whatnot, and how Tom Holland doesn't fit. And for my sake, I would have been like, yeah, for the physique of Edward Norton, but no for the personality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, you know, but Ruffalo is more of a stockier guy, right? He doesn't have that Bruce Banner, like, super skinny nerd look, right? Mm-hmm. But, like, he nails that kind of quiet scientist, kind of unsure of himself. And especially, I think the chemistry between him and Robert Downey Jr. was like, fuck, it's so good on screen. Every scene they're in together was like amazing, man. Like, just playing off each other.
That's due that's due to their real life chemistry. And and that's why it works so well. And none of that is there with Edward Norton.
Mm-hmm. Right. I don't think. At first, I wasn't a true believer until I saw their chemistry.
Yeah.
And then I realized, you know what?
Oh, it's powerful.
This works out better.
It's so powerful.
Yeah. The only thing is that, like, they kind of make it seem like Betty doesn't exist anymore, which is kind of sad.
Trying to get a Black Widow, baby.
Yeah, and I think they kind of needed to do that, because I know it's like they kind of tried to retcon that movie in a way. Like I know they technically still consider it to be part of the MCU, but it's not. Like it's really not. The MCU starts with Iron Man, and then it goes into Iron Man 2. It's not Iron Man, Hulk, Iron Man 2. You know, it's not.
Well, it's placed in there, man. Like
I know,
it's part of it's the canon.
I know, but I don't agree.
The only thing I would say is great about that movie, though, is for the fact that they really did well with how scary Hulk can be when he's like just fighting back, and for the point where like he's almost killing people.
How have we made it this far without talking about any of these new trailers?
What trailers?
DC.
Well,
all the DC.
Because we're talking about Marvel, bro. I was going to bring up all the DC stuff after this.
Bro,
you're just so excited.
I can't stop thinking about it.
I'm so excited. Sure.
I've been wanting to hear all your guys' takes all week.
Start of the
that was the worst.
Start of the stream, bro. All I did was play DC trailers at the start of the stream.
That's why I said you shouldn't have, so we could just watch them here together. But
well, we're gonna do that again. We're gonna watch them again.
Well, for me, I hated that they came out on Saturday because all I could think of all week was wonder what the boys are thinking. Wonder what the chaps are thinking about all of it.
I would have loved to.
And I'll be honest, I didn't watch Aquaman.
I would have loved. I didn't either. I would have loved to watch them kind of like if we did like live reactions to that on the podcast. Would have been fucking fantastic. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah.
Well, if ever this pops up again and I'm available, I'll hit you up and be like, hey man, you going live yet?
Yeah. No, it didn't work. Like, cause like that was on for me like pretty kind of in the afternoon, and just it didn't work time wise. But
a special marvelous cast, if you will.
Yeah, for sure.
Drnkie, your fire's dead.
It's frozen.
Drnkie, stoke the fire, bro.
Frozen fire. Stoke that bitch.
I don't know what's going on here.
I don't hear no crackling.
Blame Huck.
Oh, I gotta stand up and walk over there real quick. And
I'm actually gonna do a bathroom break here while we have a technical difficulty with a fire. You guys keep talking. BRB.
Yeah.
This must be great for the podcast, for the Spotify. Just
did before we actually start watching any of these trailers or teasers, did you guys have anything that specifically stood out to you, or was like your favorite, or something that you were looking forward to before it came out, and then when the trailer came out, you're like, all right, it's out, let's go?
When DC fandoms, I don't want to get so we don't dig too deep yet. It was just like I was kind of looking for something that hadn't been announced yet, something that was like brand new to us in terms of like a big movie coming out. And I don't think that they really did that. Everything they showed at DC FanDome in terms of like coming to the big screen are kind of things that had already been teased, already been talked about. Everything really, you kind of knew what's been going on with everything. You knew Black Adam was coming. You knew the Flash was coming. You knew the Batman trailer was coming. There was just, it was like, this is what's coming. Everything's expected. And I was kind of looking for something that was going to surprise me. Not because, anything is not as good as when it's not surprised. It's just, what else is new that we don't know is coming? Because this has all been coming for 3-4 years now from DC. And so it's all just kind of, it's all there.
It ties back to what we said earlier with Thor Ragnarok. It almost feels like they're afraid to surprise us anymore with anything. They almost have to gauge our response to everything before they give it to us. With Thor Ragnarok, we knew Hulk was going to be in that movie before it was out there. And with all these trailers and teasers, they not willing to take that risk to be like, oh yeah, here's some we haven't told you about yet. Boom. Like, I don't know. I'd love more the surprises in this kind of industry hit harder, and it feels like we've went away from that kind of stuff and more just everyone trying to do this formulaic. This is what's going to be successful. This is what's going to make money. Follow this formula, and here you go.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think like at the last DC FanDome from last year, that's where they announced that Black Adam was actually a thing. And it's like you had no idea it was coming, and then all of a sudden it was like The Rock is there, and like here is Black Adam. So I was looking for something like that. I didn't need a trailer. Just like, so what's DC working on that we don't know about? And they just didn't have anything like that for me.
Like that trailer looks like one of those things that would have been a cool way to actually. That trailer looks like how they should have announced it more than just verbally. Because I mean, you don't get too much content really out of that trailer. You get a little bit. So I think that would have been like just no words and just show that up on a screen to announce it. Like if they would have done that when they announced it in the first place, imagine how hard that would have hit for you.
Well, the movie's only the movie's only in production now, so they can't do stuff like that. Like literally, The Rock turned around and said, "We literally do not have content at the moment. Like we've literally scraped together like fucking 60 seconds of stuff, like, and it was the same with The Flash." I just think, I don't know what's going on with DC, but they seem to be very behind with production and stuff. Like Shazam 2 is filming right now as well, and it's not due out till like the end of 23. Like, it's like it's a long way away. Like
there's no more like surprises at all. Kind of like how we knew Hulk was going to be in Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Drnkie was saying that would have been cool to see something that we didn't know about.
Yeah, just there was nothing at FanDome. Like we just, everything that was coming was already telegraphed to us. Like we know it's there. We know they've been working on it, and I think it's what Finto's saying. It's like they're just behind. They're behind on their production for everything.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers and AT&T, like that has been, and DC has been getting thrown around. They've been upside down forever now.
It's a shit show. Yeah.
So
really
like,
one of the things that I've noticed, and I think I've read up on this as well, when it comes to trailers, those trailers are so far ahead of them finishing production that it gives them time to gauge what the audience thinks, and then they could try to fix it if it's terrible. It's like when you see Sonic the Hedgehog and they had that horrible abomination, and then they changed it to like the right looking character for the show, and it came out good.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like there's no risk in it anymore. It's
no,
like they want to gauge your response like that. I feel like that's kind of the reason why the trailers have gotten the way they are, where they show some of the biggest action scenes of what's going to be in the movie, like Black Widow, for example, is because they do want to gauge that early and then be like, all right, yep, it's good, we're going to keep it there. Whereas if they were to tell you while you were watching that trailer, by the way, this is like all the action from the movie, then they wouldn't have got positive responses. So it's like they showed us all the good action from the movie, no surprises, because they want to get that gauge, that response, that testing the waters. And I think we all get hurt for it as fans of the stuff, because they're not really willing to take that risk to make big moves that are going to leave our jaws dropped in the movie theater, where we're just like, oh, okay. It's almost, I can guarantee you anybody here on this cast right now, whenever one of these movies is coming out, could predict with like a 75% accuracy the entire plot of the movie.
Right. But like I would say in a sense, we're the minority of the population in terms of like the fans and speculations. Like we are already ahead of the game because we love these characters so much, and we want to just gauge and decipher everything from what we see. But when we see these big moments where, our first response is like, oh, this must be the main fight. Whereas the major population, or the majority of the population, is people just being excited for the fight. Oh my God, he did a backflip onto a guy's back and crushed him. And that was insane. I can't wait to see this. This looks brutal. But for our sakes, we're like, holy shit, was this like the major part of the story? Like we overanalyze things. And so like we don't get a chance to turn off our brains and just think that this is going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
I think you have to turn off your brain to think some of this stuff is fantastic, though.
I have a hard time, especially with Thor Ragnarok.
How dare you? I think like if a movie's really good, I don't think we're gonna, even if you see a lot of the good stuff in the trailer, I think if it's a really good movie, there's still so much more there that's not going to be shown. That's there is still a lot of value. And Thor Ragnarok was one. Like, yeah, we did get ruined with the whole Hulk thing, but there was still so much good in that movie that wasn't revealed, so it was still a treat to go and see.
Black Widow's like the opposite of the
Black Widow was just one where I think they were kind of scared with the release of it, and I think what they tried to do was just overmarket it just to kind of confirm that they were going to get those views and get those like sales, because I think they were just like, I think it was Black Widow was the first time that they actually started doing like this official clip bullshit on YouTube and stuff, where they just put up 5 minutes of the movie randomly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, everything they've released this year, every trailer for everything that they released this year almost, like Falcon Winter Soldier, everything had some of like end content of that show or movie within the trailer or teaser. Like things that were from either the last episode or the last 10 minutes of the movie. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Just don't see-
I think we're being spoiled too much on surprises. I would, if it just has certain shots of like combat scenes of different of the main character, doing something, spectacular, that's great. But if it involves like an additional character that we didn't realize was going to show up, it takes a little bit of the flavor out. That's not too bad. But when they literally just throw it in, like in Thor Ragnarok, where Hulk just busts out, like that was supposed to be an exciting moment, like a surprise, and they just threw it in there. Like, cool. Now we know that Hulk's there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Which in the way how you said we're the minority, like if they would have just said the planet Sakaar in that trailer back then, people like Alex here would have been like, "Ooh, this could be the Hulk on Sakaar," because like the big fans are going to be like, "What's on Sakaar?" That so like they can still retain surprises without giving it up to where all he's left with is speculation that his favorite character is going to be in this movie. Instead, it just completely ruined for him, and there's no. I mean, I don't know. I just think we should.
I'm not trying to hang up too much on Thor Ragnarok, but if I were to reconstruct that trailer, I would make the Grandmaster a floating voice. We all know who Jeff Goldblum is, so we know that voice. You still get excited for it, but you don't see Grandmaster yet. You hear him talking about like somebody coming through that doorway in the gladiator screen, like in the gladiator moment. You get the like, oh, introducing, and then it cuts out to black. It shows Thor's face, and you just hear the cheers of the crowd, and he goes, yes, and then it cuts out, and it's like Thor Ragnarok. There you go.
Yeah.
Too easy, but I don't know. Again, we're not the ones that are getting paid to do this stuff. Sometimes it feels like we should be those ones.
Mm.
I know Finto's gotten multiple interviews at Sony at this point.
Imagine. I'd love to be in the writers' room, bro. Just to be like, whoa,
Fly on the wall.
Cool the jets here, guys. You're going in the wrong direction. We need to go this way. I would love to do that. Like, love to.
Well, that's another thing, Finto. Reading the World War Hulk comics, guess who's helping like evacuate people? Is Spider-Man in the black suit.
Nice.
And so it's like, holy crap! Like if they do this right,
the symbiote suit, like is that what you're talking about? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, bro, like, and I think I think that might happen around Secret Wars. So it's like it must be close in time to Secret Wars because that was around the time when Peter first got the suit. So, yeah.
Well, Secret Wars has to be one of the upcoming. I'm thinking Secret Wars is going to be. We're in Phase 4 right now, so Secret Wars I'm thinking is Phase 5.
Yeah.
If Phase 4 is going to be opening the multiverse. Phase 5 will be closing it. That's how they close it.
I think it's going to happen right after World War Hulk. We're going to get Secret Invasion.
So you think World War Hulk will happen before Secret Invasion because that's already on the
that's
time slot. Like it already has its time.
If they are going to try to follow the timeline, World War Hulk happens before Secret Invasion. Wow. Because the Skrulls are like on their way, and there's even a what if comic of if Hulk had actually won the fight. And the Skrulls like invade like super early if he wins, and it just ruins the whole planet. So like if all they do is just put away Hulk at the end of World War Hulk, then they have Secret Invasion right there with the Skrulls.
Look at how thick that puppy is. That's gonna be a read. I cannot wait. That's a big boy. Look, listen. That's just a hit the table from like a fucking 10 centimeters up like. Oh, bro, I cannot wait to read this book.
Use American measurements. We talking inches, bro.
Oh yeah, like less half an inch.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, like yeah, man, I'm excited. Like obviously, there's so much. I think, I was kind of worried when, I think we spoke about this in previous podcasts, like, when we heard the whole 33 projects coming, I'm just like, oh, Jesus, it's a bit much. Like, I think they're going a bit too crazy with it, but I think they're now realizing that they're kind of oversaturating things a bit, and they're kind of starting to strip some stuff back, which is obviously good. I really think they'll do like Secret Wars with the Russos. I think that's the Russos' return. I think that's the rumor that's out there, and I think it makes the most sense.
I think this year really kind of gave them like, I think they attempted to do the all content all the time kind of thing this year. Like, we're always gonna have some content available for you, and I think they didn't see a good enough return on their money, and that's why they were like, well, Spider-Man's still within this year. Let's start pushing everything back past.
I think Eternals does 500 million in the box office easy. I think it's going to be a really big movie.
I think that movie is one of those movies that once the initial crowd goes to see it and is like, this is good, if that's what it is, it's gonna get a huge boost. Because I think this needs the initial fandom to go out there to be like, yeah, this stuff's good. Because for people that don't know who the Eternals are, I feel like it's gonna be a hard time getting them out into a theater in the first place. And then especially with a superhero movie that they might not know.
True.
I can't wait until they do 2 after credits, where one of them is them rebuilding that fall collection from IKEA.
I actually know what the after credit scenes are. I know.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it got ruined for me. But Chandler wants to say in the chat, he's like, "Can we talk about how weird the casting is for Eternals?" I kind of like.
I think Angelina Jolie is the only one I've heard a couple people say that they were like iffy on her being in the MCU.
They're looking to grab a different audience, and it's working.
I think I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with it. I've heard it more. I don't know. I can't say who exactly. I can't remember who said it, but I've heard it more than once that people are like, Angelina Jolie and the MCU is gonna be weird to them. I don't know.
I need to check out the Eternals.
Salma Hayek and Angelina are not superhero characters, in my opinion. So it might have been Chandler that told me.
I mean, I think anybody can be a superhero character. There's like, would you ever? I don't know. That's weird. Like, I don't see Robert Downey Jr. as a superhero until he plays Iron Man. Like I totally don't see that coming out of left field.
True. Like, look at like Gwyneth Paltrow. Like, like you wouldn't picture her being in like the MCU and eventually like putting suits on and stuff like that, and like she gets powers and everything in the third movie. Like, I think anyone can do it if it's done right. And the small footage I've seen of Angelina Jolie so far, like, she looks great. Like, she's like flipping around like with the swords and shit, and it looks good. Like, I think it looks really good. There hasn't been really any footage of Salma Hayek yet, really, like in action anyway. She's kind of just.
I've seen her on the red carpet. Woo! God damn.
Yeah, well, she's.
I remember seeing
she's still rocking it.
Yeah, she's
incredible. Tiny Drnkie from like the Desperado years came out. I was like, oh my god, Salma Hayek once again.
Yeah.
Oh my god, she doesn't age.
Yeah.
I swear.
Yeah. Special human. For sure.
she's an. I was gonna say inhuman. I'm like, that's wrong.
I mean, the thing about the Eternals is they definitely don't feel like they fit the mold of MCU characters, but I think that's kind of the point with the casting of all the characters. These are kind of supposed to be people who are not superhero people, right? Like they're like different. They're supposed to feel like aliens. So I think the casting of a lot of them kind of fit that mold. I'm excited to see it. I don't think I've seen anybody in this from the trailers that felt out of place. They all kind of weirdly felt like they like fit together as a cast already, and that's without seeing the movie. I'm totally pumped to see every one of these people in the movie in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's this day 2 weeks. It's out, and it's it's what's it called? 2 hours 40 is the runtime, so it's like the second longest movie in the MCU, which I'm all for. Like, give me the most content ever. Like, I just want to see it all. Yeah, I think it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
The main point for the Eternals is to introduce the mutant gene.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, because from the Deviants have the mutant gene within them.
Interesting.
From what I remember.
Deviant and Mutant, I think, are almost synonymous for Marvel.
Yeah.
At least when they've described like how Thanos was a deviant, but then he was like a mutant within his own race of deviants, and that's why he looks so different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Eternals is going to be a good movie. 2 weeks, excited about that. Excited about talking about that after.
For the podcast that week, just we may as well talk about it now, since we were talking about it. So the only time that I could actually I want to go see this film on day one because I just want to be able to talk about it as soon as possible. So the only time was like 4:30 Eastern for me to go see this. So what I'm thinking is, and I'll leave this up to you guys. I don't really care which way it goes down, but we can do a later podcast on this night. So maybe start like 3 hours after, if that works for you guys. I don't mind. So I can stay up late. That doesn't bother me at all. Or do we like just push it back to a Saturday, and just do the podcast at like whatever time, like 4 p.m. Eastern on the Saturday instead? What do you?
I can push it.
Works.
Yeah,
I can do either one.
I could push too.
Yeah. If you want to get it out that night, I'm down.
I wouldn't mind. Like, if you guys have seen the movie as well at that stage?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm going.
I'll be back at like 4.
4 on the 5th on the Friday. You'll be back at like 5 p.m. Okay. Yeah, like I'll be a little late, but I think we can just start it late. And I think it would be great to just do a full blown chat while it's all fresh in our mind, like spoiler fucking central, and then we could just even talk about other stuff as well, and then we'll just clip out the Eternals talk and just put that up as a separate video, I think, as well, like just to get a short up as well that week. I think it'd be fire. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's definitely the move. Yeah, so
Boomer Drnkie's going to see it November 4th at like midnight or whatever it is. So I'll be
going
in the theater.
Hell yeah, dude. I wish I could, but I'm in work.
Edward 40 hands.
I'm in work. I can't do the midnight stuff anymore. It sucks because I used to love the vibe of going to the cinema at midnight, like because you're there with all the truest fans. Like I loved going to see like
people that are gonna keep their mouth shut during the whole movie.
Exactly. Yeah. And then like like just proper reactions, like that reaction where Chris Evans grabs like Mjolnir for the first time, like, and everyone's just like, oh my god, like you're just you're there with people who feel about it as passionately as you do, and it's just I miss that shit, man, because like I went to see Venom the other day and just like there's like fucking like thugs behind me and like just talking and on their phones and laughing and shit, and I'm just like, bro, like we're in the fucking theater, like will you just sit down and shut the fuck up, like just watch the movie, like I can't stand it, bro. Like, I just like, it was just horrendous. Like,
tell me, you guys, like after that moment with the hammer, when like Thanos starts overpowering him, like, did your like people just get silent? Like, did they just start going silent? Like, holy crap, what's gonna happen? Like, because it was that like, so there were 3 moments. There was that shriek of like excitement for the fact that he grabbed the hammer. There was the shouts from Avengers Assemble. There was the silence that was had when Thanos started overpowering him again. And then, well, actually there was 4. So that final one was the I Am Iron Man moment.
Yeah. Tony's death.
Those were
just pure silence. I remember that. Like, it was just, everyone was just in shock.
I could hear people crying.
In shock. Like, yeah, it was crazy. Like, that movie just brings out, like, I'll never forget the first viewing of that movie. Like, it just, like, so many emotions. It was a roller coaster. Like, it was incredible. It really was incredible.
Yeah, when Captain, like, everyone was, like, forming up around Captain or whatever, I fucking teared up, bro. When he said Marvel's or Avengers Assemble, I was like, oh my god. Yeah. Like, why the fuck am I crying, bro? It's so stupid.
Yeah. I proper was, like, when like, Mjolnir, and he grabs it, and he does that, like, kind of hero turn. Like, I was sitting in my seat and I was like, yes! Like, you know what I mean? And my girlfriend was like, what are you doing? Shut up. And all. Like, I was like, I don't care. That was that good. Like, I was like, this is incredible. Like, so good. That's fucking cinema, bros. That is it. Like, that is it. That's the beauty of it right there. And I'll never forget when I went to see the Justice League in the cinema. So it was the Joss Whedon cut. And there was a kid sitting beside me with his mom. And at the very end scene where Deathstroke shows up at the end of the Joss cut, and it's Joe Magliano's Deathstroke, like, this little kid beside me, he's bouncing up and down the seat, and he's like, oh my god, it's Deathstroke. And I was just like, bro, like that is just like such a magical moment. Like this kid's
That's
like,
amazing.
Deathstroke's obviously his favorite character, like, and he just seen him in live action, like, you know, on the big screen for the first time was just crazy. Like,
Yeah.
what was the first MCU movie you saw in theaters? Someone asks in the chat, and I have seen every single MCU movie in the theaters. I've seen every single superhero movie in the cinema since I've been alive. I haven't missed anything. I've seen literally every single film in the cinema.
I didn't catch Hulk in there, but I did see Iron Man, and I remember like the feeling walking out with my friends after seeing Iron Man, like knowing like everything's different. We're like, dude, did we just watch like that felt
just
like
watched history.
how did they pull that off, bro? Like how is there a good Iron Man movie? Like that was amazing.
Yeah.
And everything felt different after that in terms of like being excited about comic book movies, because that was a pretty dark period for comic book movies.
Yeah.
It was like not that great. It wasn't that good.
It wasn't.
So
But like, if you remember as well, like that was like 2008, and like the year before we had the first Transformers movie and stuff like that. So like blockbusters were in, you know, it was like CGI, like blockbusters were the thing. And then it was like, hang on a second, there's like a superhero movie about Iron Man now, and it's perfect. And it was just like, shit, here we go. And the wheels just started turning, and that was it. Like that's all she wrote. It was set sailing from there. Yeah, no, yeah, I haven't missed one superhero film. Like that's Sony, Fox, everything, anything Marvel related, anything DC related. I've seen every single movie in the cinema since, for as long as I can remember on this planet. The only things I didn't see in the cinema were like the Blade movies, because I was too young. Like I wasn't able to go see them. But like saw all the X-Men, everything. Fantastic Four, saw them all.
I had Blade on VHS. It was awesome.
I had it as well, but I wasn't allowed to go into a theater to see it because they don't have, you know, the way you guys over in the States have like rated R, so you could be brought in with a parent or whatever. They don't have that over here. It's like strictly 18.
Your parents can't even let you in?
No.
Wow.
That doesn't exist over here.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and even now, it's still to this day, it's the same. If there's a movie that's rated 18s over here, which is like the highest rating, that's it. You have to be 18 to go see it. They have a couple of like ratings in the middle, like I think it's like 15A or something, and 16s. It's weird. So there's like 15A, so it's like you could be 15 or younger, but accompanied with an adult, and then there's 16s, which is strictly 16, and then 18 as well. So it's stupid, like.
Yeah, I had to sneak into C300 when I was a young lad.
Yeah. I remember one time there was a theater that we used to go to when we were in school.
I am a god.
And we used to lie and say we were younger to get the cheap tickets, to get the kids' tickets. So like I'd be 16 and I'd be saying I was 13 when they asked my age. And then I'd get like the child tickets, like they'd be half the price. And I remember one day I went up and I had said that I was like, they were like, oh, what age are you? What are you going to see? And I was like, oh, we're going to see, I can't remember what movie it was. And your one behind the counter goes, that's a 16s movie. And I told her I was 14 to get the cheap tickets. And she's like, I can't let you in. And I was like, I just lied. She was like, I just lied. I was like, I just lied to get the cheaper tickets. And she's like, I can't let you in because you're after saying to me you're 14.
yeah.
Screw yourself.
So
That's brutal.
Yeah, got him. Got myself. I think we need to talk about some of these DC trailers. I want to talk about them. I don't want to pull them up because I'm going to put this on YouTube and Warner Brothers will just probably like
They'll blast you out.
They'll get the channel banned. Like they proper like just block channels completely. So I would love to watch them, and I think now what Warner Brothers are doing now, because I notice it when we do some of the Titans content, is like I strip out the audio of that when I'm making those videos, but they have like trackers in place obviously for the video as well, even not just audio. So it's not just audio detection, it's video detection as well. So yeah, like I don't know, like Black Adam, first of all, like are you excited about like The Rock? Like I thought the footage looked good, and I'm very excited. Like I
don't know much about the actual Black Adam, but yeah.
Yeah, like
he's a dick.
He is a dick. I love the Shazam movie. Like that just went up on Netflix here. Like, and it's already top 10 in Ireland already. Like it's a good movie. Like Shazam's really good. And I just really want to see like the opposite side to Shazam. Like, you know, and the fact that for me, like the fact that Dwayne Johnson is such a massive fan and they've been trying to make this movie for 8 years or something like this, kind of gives me that vibe of like Ryan Reynolds with Deadpool, and like it's a passion project for him and stuff like that. So I really think he's going to take it very seriously, and the fact that he shows up to DC FanDome, like he doesn't have to do that at all. Like, and the fact that he's there, like he's the fucking richest actor in the world at the moment. Like he's the highest paid actor in the world at the moment, and he's showing up to that shite. Like, you know what I mean? That says everything about his passion for this project. So that for me is a massive safety net, and I think the movie's going to be good. Like the tiny clip that we saw was cool. I like the way you see like he uses like super strength obviously super strength, but he uses like super speed to grab your man's throat and everything, and just turns him to dust and everything. And I'm like, shit, I want to see this. Like, and I truly believe that he has the power to bring Cavill in like as Superman. I know there's like been some rumors that Superman's going to appear, because he's like, there's rumors that he was like photoed on set, but I think that's actually an older photo. But I truly believe if anyone can bring Cavill back, it's Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Who's the antagonist again, or the protagonist, I guess, for Black Adam?
I don't know.
Black Adam.
Yeah,
Black Adam.
Black Adam is.
Yeah, like it's the movies. The protagonist, whether or not they're evil, they're still the protagonist.
Yeah. So
I thought it was.
I don't believe Shazam's going to be in this movie. Maybe he might make it like a small appearance at the very end or something like that. But like this is just a solo movie.
Is opposite of him?
I don't even think they're gonna try to pair them though. Like Shazam. Like I hadn't watched the first Shazam movie, but like seeing all the comedy in it, and I'm like,
it's
very family kid friendly. Yeah.
If the Rock wants to play Black Adam and he's playing an actual serious Black Adam, this is gonna be really weird if he runs into Shazam.
Yeah, like, you know, like Black Adam is like an anti-hero. Shazam is like his kind of like arch nemesis. You know, if we're talking those terms.
Is he like but then he wouldn't even be like Deadpool, because
I don't. No, like I mean when I mention Deadpool, I just mean like the real world aspect of Ryan Reynolds and that project, and you know what I mean. I'm not talking about comparisons of characters.
No. Like what Drnkie said as him being like an anti-hero. I think of like Deadpool as anti-hero. So then I don't know.
Punisher's anti-hero. It's just like he's someone who like has his own interest. He's not always going to be the good guy in everyone else's story. He's going to be the good guy in his story. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate as well. It will be very interesting.
Very excited about that, actually.
Yeah, that's going to be fantastic.
Pierce Brosnan,
Dr. Fate
as Dr. Fate.
You'll love him. He's kind of like a Sorcerer Supreme type of character. Like you'll dig Dr. Fate. Yeah. Like he's a big magic user.
Big magic.
And this is
I'm gonna have to watch some stuff on Black Adam, because I am just going into this completely blind. I know nothing about any of that. Universe. I guess
the trailer looked amazing. I'm actually pretty excited for the project. I thought everything looked great. His suit, you know, all the Shazam suits look really good for being superhero stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't think Black Adam's any different. Rock is huge. Him having that big ass bald head as it is.
Yeah.
As Black Adam, it should be hilarious.
His legs are terrifying looking. Like they're just so thick. Like they're like fucking trees. Like.
The only thing that bothers me is
thick ass boy.
He's a thick ass
every
boy.
chance he gets, he's like, we're about to change the hierarchy of power within the DCE. I'm like, okay, buddy, we know. Like, he just keeps harping on that, man. I don't know how that's the selling point.
That's Dr. Fate, yeah.
Like a Templar, he's a gangster.
Yeah, he looks really good, man.
And I don't know if these are fan made, but holy crap,
that's way better than fan made. Like, that's awesome looking, bro.
That is insane. I think that might be fan made, is it?
I mean, it's definitely not like from the actual movie. That's like a concept art, for the movie, probably.
Maybe,
if someone's that good as
could be Boss Logic. Boss Logic is that good at stuff.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
because that looks amazing, man.
It
like,
does.
and Pierce Brosnan, huge fan of that dude. Whatever he does, I love watching him.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
So,
so like, you know, Black Adam is definitely one to watch. Shazam 2 is going to be great. The Flash trailer for me was fantastic. I actually was like, I just couldn't believe like Michael Keaton was narrating the whole thing, and then like shows up at the very end. You see the back of his head, and you know we've got multiple Barry Allens, and it's just the future, like the futuristic looking suit is just class looking. I was really impressed by it. Just fantastic trailer as well, and I love that. Whatever, I presume there's more than one Barry, so I presume like he's in Keaton's universe, so maybe there's a Barry Allen from Keaton's universe, and that he obviously doesn't have his powers, or maybe he isn't the Flash yet, because you see that he's wearing an old Keaton Batman costume that's been sprayed red with the yellow lightning on it. So,
Well, then Bruce Wayne build the Flash's like outfit in this one or the current TCU. Like he built that suit, so maybe he just like they're just kind of playing off that where he found like one of Batman's old suits. It's like, all right,
yeah,
spray paint it.
This'll do. Well, I think the one that's wearing the makeshift suit. So if it's going by the Flashpoint storyline, when Barry actually goes back and changes things, he loses his powers. And what he has to do is he has to basically recreate the storm that gave him his powers. So that's what I think that's what people are theorizing is going to be happening in the movie. That version is actually the version from the Snyderverse. That's the wrong Flash.
Is it?
That's Grant.
I'm looking.
That's
I was
the TV,
looking all over.
That's the TV one. That looks pretty cool. I love him as
It
Flash.
does look.
I wish he's gonna make a cameo in the movie. He's actually gonna be in the
I was
film.
looking all over for it.
The new suit.
I wonder.
Yeah,
I wonder
can't
if
seem
they
to find
offered
it.
it to him. I wonder why they didn't try to translate, because a lot of people like the TV Flash.
Oh, they love it. But again, it's
The actor for it.
they're
is
not-
not bad.
they're not touching. Like they're very much so keeping TV and cinema separate for DC.
Gotcha.
So they're not doing it. But now, like, you know, Ezra Miller's Flash did show up in the TV show, and that's how he actually gets the name the Flash from this guy. This guy calls himself. He's like, "You're the Flash too," and like Ezra Miller's like, "What did you just say? What did you call me?" He's like, "The Flash," and he's like, "Oh, the Flash." It's like he has that realization that he is the Flash. I don't know
I
what.
think that's the only thing I hate about the trailer is Ezra Miller.
Yeah, I don't know. Like Ezra Miller, like
Yeah, I'm just not a fan, man.
A lot of people don't like him at all, and I'm not a major
Is
fan.
he your Sam Wilson, Drnkie?
Say
Is he
what?
your Falcon? Is he your Falcon?
No, because I actually like.
Falcon.
No, I like the Flash. I like the Anthony Mackie a lot. You know, I hate the actor. I can't stand Ezra Miller. I think he's a woman beating piece of shit.
Yeah. The fact that
Oh,
the fact
I
that
mean,
he
pregnant
not
would
know.
be too. At
the
that.
fact that he
I
wore
did not know that.
the fact that he wore that choker, like he choked a woman out, very publicly.
A
Like
pregnant woman.
Yeah, like he
Oh.
literally grabbed her by the throat, and then it's like at the DC FanDome he shows up and he's wearing a choker. I'm like, bro,
Yeah.
are you for real? Like,
How
And
does
then
he
you see
sell
him
the job?
acting. It's even worse.
yeah,
Like I'm getting choked. It's terrible.
yeah. I just think that movie's going to be impressive because we've got Michael Keaton returning and Michael Keaton staying in the DCEU or whatever that it might be called. I don't know if it's going to be called that anymore. And then
He's Batman.
Ben Affleck's going to be in it and probably going to be killed in it. So like he's going to close off his arc or whatever during that movie as well. So 2 Batman, at least 2 Flash, probably more. I hope we get a reverse Flash and a few more villains as well. It'd be fantastic. But I've got very high hopes.
I love how we live in this new like cinematic universe of things where, you know, we could just say like, they'll just kill him.
Yeah.
Just bring in the new guy.
Yeah.
Speak for yourself. This is the worst for me.
So,
What do we think of the Batman trailer? The Pattinson one.
Ooh,
That movie.
I'll say
best
up front,
trailer I think.
That movie's
not as good as the first trailer. But seeing all the new scenes and stuff, I am continuously blown away by this Batman.
Yeah.
And I just think I've always been in Robert Pattinson's corner on this. I always thought he could pull this thing off. And I think seeing him in the suit, he just looks fierce, bro.
Yeah.
He looks
Yeah.
like, I know he's not bulk, but he looks fierce. He looks angry in that thing. And it looks like you can actually take him seriously. If Christian Bale showed up in that outfit, I'd fucking laugh at him, bro. You
Yeah.
see this one, like he looks like an animal, bro. Like he looks like a problem.
Yeah.
Vengeance.
have they confirmed whether or not this is like a young Bruce?
It is. Yeah. It's like back to origin story. I think it's him
He
just
seems
becoming
like
Batman.
20s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But
So you think
his
are
back,
they going to skip it?
his back looks pretty big. Like, you know, there's a scene in the new trailer where he's like getting undressed or whatever, and like his back looks pretty defined and stuff. So I don't think he's gonna be like skinny. Like I think you know
yeah.
there's a lot of like bad press out there at the moment because I think he like joked in an interview and said he wasn't working out or something like this, and like everyone's kind of going like, oh, he's too skinny, you know, he's not putting effort in, he's not getting buff, and it's like that's actually not the case. He was actually just joking in an interview, and he actually is training. Like he's been training for months, but I think people just have a bad like kind of, again, anything to kind of take a stab at Robert Pattinson, I think,
Yeah.
And yeah, Colin Farrell, like, is just crazy. Like, it's just, like, what a transformation. Like, he looks nothing like Colin Farrell at all. Because I remember when I watched the first trailer, obviously knowing there's a double man in the movie, I'm like, where the fuck is Colin Farrell? I was like, he hasn't shown up in this trailer at all. And then I was like, hang on a second, oh my god, that was him. Like, I didn't even realize. Like, it passed me by. Could not believe it. So yeah.
And, I don't know. I love the trailer. It feels like they're not giving a lot away. I don't think we've seen the main bad guy in the trailers yet. I think they're holding a lot back on purpose to really let you go in there and experience something new that's not being told you in trailers.
Yeah. What I've heard,
oof.
What I've heard about the movie is it's a proper, like, long movie, nearly 3 hours long, and it's a proper, like, detective story. Like, Batman will work with Jim Gordon, the GCPD, to be the world's greatest detective, as Batman is known as. Like, so it's like, I feel like the way that they've kind of done Batman in the past, they don't really kind of focus on the whole detective side of things. Like, he's not solving crimes, he's not looking for killers. It's always kind of just been the bat signal goes up when Jim Gordon and the guys find out that the Joker's in a bank here, and then Batman just shows up to beat the shit out of him. Like, whereas this time Batman's doing the work. And as well, I think they were saying that there's gonna be, the way in Daredevil, there's like they always have like the hallway scenes, the hallway fight scenes. Apparently there's going to be a hallway fight scene in this Batman movie that is going to be gruesome, apparently, like phenomenal. Like, make the Daredevil and Punisher stuff look like child's play, apparently, is what it's being described as. So, like, yeah, I'm all for it, dude. I'm all for it. Like, and I've absolutely nothing against Robert Pattinson. Like, I've seen him do some good roles. Like, I've seen him do some good acting. Like, obviously not Twilight, but I've seen him do some good stuff outside of Twilight. Like, good actor, really good actor. So
he's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward.
He's Cedric Diggory.
True.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, he didn't last long in the Harry Potter universe.
No, he didn't.
he had about 25 minutes screen time.
He lasted like 4 years in Hogwarts. Okay.
Yeah. The Goblet of Fire got him. Gobbled him up. Second trailer was lit. Yeah, Gabriel, you're dead right. It was crazy. Like, I just loved the Nirvana track in the background as well. Like, it's just like, oh, fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
it's good.
And like, even like, I was listening to that song the other day, and I've been a Nirvana fan since I was like 12 years old, and just even hearing Something in the Way now, I'm like fucking getting flashes of like Batman in my head now. I'm just like, shit, that's sticking, that's really sticking. Like, go listen to Something in the Way tomorrow, like if you're in your car or something, and you'll be fucking picturing Robert Pattinson, like. So yeah, I think, great. I didn't even watch the Aquaman content. Did you watch it, Drnkie? What is it? Is it a trailer?
I don't know. I didn't check it out, bro.
I saw
I did.
First 2 seconds of Jason Momoa talking, and I was like, nope, off.
I like, even like, not that I'm going looking for it, but like, I went onto YouTube after, because I was in and out and I missed a lot of the fandom, like, but like, I just typed into YouTube like DC FanDome 2021, like, and nothing came up for Aquaman, like, so it had all the trailers and stuff. But
Aquaman made a ton of money for him, though, right?
Yeah,
apparently it's like, it was a really, really successful film.
Yeah.
In terms of money, I just know I saw a picture from the set, which just absolutely cracked me up, because Jason Momoa, he was absolutely like just shredded in the first Aquaman movie, and now he's just like Jason Momoa. Like, he looks at the guy who hangs out at the bar all the time.
Yeah,
like he just kind of like has that barrel gut now, and I'm like, all right,
he's drinking too much Guinness.
Yeah, he had a lot of time off in COVID. Yeah,
Drunkie's a huge Jason Momoa fan. That's why he's so excited about Dune, and he's just let down by him.
Dune was good. I enjoyed it. Watched it on Wednesday.
Can't wait.
Yeah, it was really good. Really good.
Man, that Aquaman cartoon looks horrible though.
Didn't
all these, like, really bad...
Didn't see anything.
I was gonna
about
pull
it.
that up. I was gonna pull that up just for you.
Oh, it's terrible.
Oh my god. That looks like
that's one of the better frames.
That looks like what's
That's a good frame.
Yeah.
Looks like the dude from SpongeBob, Barnacle Boy, and what's his name?
Yeah.
It's so bad.
I feel like they're trying to, like, riff off this like Rick and Morty really like surreal looking art style,
Yeah,
and try
look at those eyes, bro. Like, what the hell?
Look at those eyebrows.
Yeah, that's just like a big tick. It's just the
a-
laziest thing ever.
That's a check mark.
Oh my god, that's so funny,
Look at
dude.
those Popeye arms on this guy. What the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude,
Them thighs though.
that's so funny. see if Alex, see if you can pull up a picture of Jason Momoa from Aquaman 2 there, really, because I know he has I know he has a new suit. It's like a all kind of gray or
Here, let
suit
me
or something like this. I think looks like a Thundercats remake. um. Yeah, what do you think? Did you watch Peacemaker? Did you watch the trailer for that? The John Cena thing?
I did. I didn't think it looked bad, but like I just felt like I'm not interested in it at all.
Yeah, I'm not I'm not interested at all, but I'll watch it when it comes out. Like when I see it coming up, I'll be like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we'll check it out," but I'm not like excited for it. Like I'll definitely I'll definitely watch it, but I'm not excited.
I feel
So
like
you
I'm
go-
very... Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So you go from like the animated series to this, and it's like what?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it's pretty
kind of like this suit. Like I like the color of it, the new one. Like it looks kind of
Yeah.
interesting. But like this is just
Definitely, like,
if he's become the king of Atlantis, I can't remember how the first one ends, but he gets the golden trident, so you would think he would keep.
no, don't worry. This is
keep
his
the
Winter
original
Soldier look. All right.
Yeah. The stealth look.
Something's going on.
Jason Momoa has
Darmalage
has
would
the
like to work
symbiote
with
suit. That'd be crazy. Imagine like, oh my god. And yeah, I hear Black Manta's going to be in that movie as well. I heard that like Black Manta's
Aquaman?
in Aquaman 2, like Black Manta's coming back and stuff.
Oh, I thought you said Black Panther. I was like, what the hell?
No, Black
Now
Manta.
the real Darmalage is coming in.
Yeah. That's so funny, dude.
I just can't believe they're making another Aquaman. I had no idea it was like that successful. I thought it was like...
Especially after he was such a non-factor in Justice League. Like he was nothing in that movie.
I think it's the
My man.
I think it's the power. I genuinely think it's the power of Jason Momoa, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because, like, he's a fucking babe magnet. All the women love him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they'll just go to see him because he's in it. Like, you know. So it's. I think it's just a cash grab. Like, you know. It's
Oh my God.
It's like all the teenage boys going to see the Harley Quinn movie for Margot Robbie. Like, you know, it's this is the female version.
I'm sorry, Finto. Like I have your stream up,
Mhm.
and it's covering the top half of Jason Momoa. So all I see is like crotch down, and then I look over to the left hand side. I'm like, dude, he's wearing a sports cup or something. Like, so you don't look the same.
What do you mean? It's showing. I see it fully on my screen.
On the right hand side? No, I'm saying like I have your stream up. I have a window of your stream up.
Oh, sorry. I understand what you're saying. Sorry, I thought you were talking about like what everybody's seeing.
No, front facing Jason Momoa has like a cup piece or something.
Yeah.
And on the side, I can't tell.
Do you want to hear? Because I just had to look this up. The gross worldwide box office for Aquaman.
Let me hear it.
$1.148 billion.
Wow.
Wow,
Holy moly.
Yeah,
that's great.
and the estimated budget to make the movie was 160 million.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, the movie did look fantastic. Like when you're watching it, like the way they do the underwater effects, I was
Yeah.
blown away, man.
Yeah, like you've got a good cast as well in there, like you know, Willem Dafoe's there and stuff like that, and what's his name? Patrick. Oh my god, the dude from Watchmen and Conjuring. What's his name?
Oh, I know you're talking
Patrick
about.
Wilson, I think is his name. Like, you know, he's great in it as well. Like, you know, like it had a good cast. I just really fucking hated the middle of the movie when he went to like the Earth's core and there was dinosaurs and his mother down there. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I was like, this is just ridiculous. Like, if they cut that out of the movie, that middle bit out of the movie, I think it would have held up. Like, I loved, like, Black Manta was cool. It was very comic accurate and it was great. Amber Heard wasn't too annoying in the movie. Like, she was kind of just like there, but she wasn't like at the same time. So like, it didn't bother me too much. But yeah, like, it's just back to fucking. Ugh.
I mean, she's a good actress. We saw all the fucking tales she told about Johnny Depp that were fake.
Yeah.
She
sure.
sold those just as well as her character.
Yeah, I think. Do you think she gets?
Yeah, I remember those
I
stories.
thought I saw that she got booted off the film. I don't know if that was actually true or not.
She's still in it, I believe.
I think she's still there, but I would be surprised if they didn't get rid of her. Because
Yeah.
like she destroyed like years of Depp's career. Like, you know, like people will still be kind of hesitant to hire him in Hollywood now. You know, he's been tainted, like, and it's come out now that it's all lies. So it's the poor man, like, it's awful.
And it's just a sad moment. Like the dude was on fire,
Yeah,
and
Yep.
someone doused it out.
yeah,
Yep.
crazy.
Can't date young like that. You gotta stay in your age bracket, Johnny.
Yeah,
That's the
Well,
way it
yeah, he
goes.
wasn't he with someone that like they actually had a thing, and then the only reason why like he swapped off was because he literally fell head over heels for Amber Heard.
I don't know.
he's an eccentric guy. It wouldn't surprise me like at all, you know. But yeah, look, we all learn these mistakes, you know. I think we've all kind of met some crazy women along on our journey on this planet, you know. So I sympathize with him completely. Absolutely. But
I think there was something the story I heard that like I just even if she didn't lie about everything else, there's a story of Johnny Depp where he just found out someone stole a ton of money from him. We're talking millions and millions and millions of dollars, like $13 million or something like that. Like one of his accounts. And when he found out about that, she was mad at him because he wasn't at her birthday. Could you imagine?
Jeez.
Could you imagine losing $36 million and your girlfriend's mad because you're not at her birthday? I
couldn't imagine having $36 million.
Oh, I could. I'd spend it so.
Oh,
I got plans.
I could spend it in a weekend, bro. Gone. Gone.
You got
Yeah. She needs to go.
You guys got to live prosperous. You can't be going one and done.
No, one and done. What do you
I
want to
wanna
be
have-
like one of these old rich guys? The saddest
Yeah.
thing in the world is an old guy with a ton of money. It's
I
horrible.
know, it's like
It's not so
you
much
only get to
that.
enjoy all that stuff. You see these old people and all these nice cars, and it's like, oh, you get to enjoy that for 3 years.
Yeah, and then
come on.
you can't even like bend down to get into the thing. You're too old. You can't even get into the sports car anymore.
I'm already like that. I'm 35, man. I drive a Mustang. I'm like, oh god, my fucking knee, man.
I'm not saying hoard it. I'm saying spend wisely on a few things, and then once you have like your expendable cash, go nuts.
I would always.
And
I
then-
don't like this talk.
I've always said, like, you know, if I ever come into like a big bunch of money, like from like crypto or whatever like that, like, you know, I would always kind of throw like a lump sum away, let that like earn interest and stuff like that, and then like, you know, go buy your houses and your supercars and all this shit, like, and then, you know, at least you have that little nest there that's kind of earning the interest and stuff like that, like, because, you know, the more shit that you have, like, you know, if you start buying properties, like, you got to pay like property taxes and all this sort of thing, like, so, you know, it becomes very hard to maintain all that stuff. So do you know what I mean? Like, you got to be smart about it, because you're not going to like just buy a couple of properties and then 10 years down the line when all your money's gone, and then you have to sell everything because you can't afford to fucking upkeep, like, you know.
Drnkie, what is your highest costing bit badge? Because I will reach that point if that ever happens.
I don't know. What's the highest one you get on Twitch?
Yeah, right. Everybody in here, I'm gonna
200K?
be
I don't know.
highest point bit badge.
I think it's 5
I get
million.
that, if I get
I think there's
that
a
crypto money
Is
one
it?
day,
there's a 5 million badge. Yeah,
Oh yeah, I think there is. Yeah,
yeah.
Jeez,
Yeah.
I have it.
I get that crypto money one day.
what's your
We
highest
all
emote?
I don't know. These are tough questions for me. I don't pay attention.
Well,
I'm just here to play games, bro.
I still see a few emotes that I don't have yet. And I'm like, I want them.
200K bits is my highest emote.
Gotcha.
No one has that. I got 3 people who have 100K bits. And then
Was that the yes or yes?
No, that is no. This is fine. Is 100K bits.
The 200K is out of your mind or out of my mind?
No, that's 75K. And then Rich AF is 200K. So, but I'm just saying, I know we deal around this. If you, I am only motivated by going broke. So if I come into a large sum of money, we are hanging out, we're partying because I'm gonna spend
Exactly.
it all so I can go back to being motivated. 'Cause
Yeah,
I just
see-
I'd be too complacent and lazy, bro. I'm like, I don't need to do anything. I'll lay around all day.
Alex said, yeah, you save, you use your expendable money. I was like, wait, isn't all my money expendable shit?
Hell yeah, dude.
That's all of it.
Yeah. Rich
You
AF.
should
let's go.
Recreate Vice City.
Yeah.
Imagine. Yeah, amazing. Oops. I'm trying to think, was there any other news from the week?
I mean, I think those trailers were most of the news, wasn't there? You want to talk about the games at all? I know you were pretty interested in
I'm very interested in the games. I know Drnkie is as well. Like Gotham Knights looks great. That fucking trailer with like the Court of Owls and everything. Like that's one of the best Batman runs that I've ever read. And like Court of Owls is incredible. You know, so
that's what the Batman's about, the movie. I think it's the Court of Owls, baby.
Yeah, maybe. Like obviously we've got Riddler, Penguin, Catwoman. Like yeah, I think Court of Owls could easily be in there as well.
Have you seen? Oh man, I want to give away, but like I know who's like. There's other people cast like big. There's another big actor cast in this thing they haven't even shown yet.
Oh, I'm excited. Don't tell me.
Spill it. Spill it.
Let me get his name right.
Yeah, it's great.
All right, so you know who's playing? What's his name? Here we go. I think his name is. Nope. See, I'm gonna get the name wrong, and it's gonna ruin it. So I gotta get his name right. John Turturro.
Oh,
he is playing Carmine Falcone.
Nice. Okay, I'm in.
So I'll be honest, I feel like it's either gonna be the Court of Owls, or I think they're gonna be riffing off the Long Halloween in this a lot, where it's like, you know, I feel like he's gonna be kind of the big bad of the whole movie, and like he's behind the scenes. I think that's why you have you know, Cobblepot in there. I think he's part of the mafia, and Falcone deals with him. I think the end of it's going to be Falcone or Cobblepot becoming the Penguin, taking over the mafia family.
Nice.
In a way.
I like it. Yeah.
Oh man, I can't believe they brought in the Jesus.
That's kind of like, that's what they did in the Gotham show. They did that with like the whole arc with Falcone and Penguin and everything. They did all that in Gotham. Yeah, there was no real Star Wars news this week. Not that I can think of. I think they were talking.
Isn't that sad? There's nothing in the Star Wars universe going on. The Book of Boba. Like, it might be fun, but like, we need some big Star Wars news, man. We need like the next trilogy announced. We like, come on, man.
I think we need Book of Boba is going to be huge, bro. It's basically
Obi-Wan show's going to be bigger.
Yeah,
Obi-Wan show. It's
basically Mando over season 2.5. It's just taking off directly where Mando left off.
But you don't think everything else in the Mandalorian that didn't involve the Mandalorian, it all sucked?
I don't know, man. The war on Mandalore that's coming and stuff, and the Darksaber and stuff. I'm very interested by all that. You know, with Bo-Katan and all, and I'm definitely interested in that. I want to see more Ahsoka. I want to see Luke and his new temple, like Luke building a new temple, and Grogu getting trained, and just like there's.
You think that's gonna be in Book of Boba?
Yes, sir.
All right.
There was a poster that was released for Book of Boba a couple of months ago. I think I showed it on the stream, and it's a picture of Luke. This is an officially licensed picture by Lucasfilm. It's a picture of Luke holding Grogu, and Grogu is building a yellow lightsaber with using the Force. Crazy. Thank you, Alex.
No problem. Was there any combat in Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League? Because I didn't see anything, and that's a little concerning for me.
Yeah, it seems anything that we've seen. I was only saying the same thing, Reese. I don't know who I was asking or who I was talking to about this, but we haven't seen any gameplay footage from that. We've seen 2 incredible cinematic trailers, and the storyline sounds fantastic, but we haven't seen any gameplay. Like, I don't even know what type of like beat 'em up it's going to be. Like, you know, is it going to be like the Avengers? Is it going to be more like, you know, like a Spider-Man, like that kind of vibe? Like, I don't even know what it's going to be like.
Oh, we did, however, see some of the combat for Guardians of the Galaxy, which was it's pretty interesting. I think it's weird that they don't just let you control each character.
Yeah, you're only playing as Star-Lord, right?
Right, but it's also in the form of combos pertaining to when you call out your teammates.
Oh,
so
okay.
like as you're fighting,
stuff.
yes. Yeah. So like as you're fighting as Quill, like in between that, you call Gamora to do like a flip kick over at a person, or you call in Drax to like break a shield or something.
I'm playing Uncharted 5 at the moment, and I started the game like back in 2017 when it first got released, and I was too addicted to Fortnite at the time, so I literally like played it for like 3 hours, and then I was like, I got stuck on a puzzle, and I was like, fuck this, I'm going back to Fortnite. Never went back to it. But the the combat in that game is actually very similar to what you're talking about. So you play as Chloe in the game, and you're having fist fights with people, but it'll prompt you to press like the triangle key, and then like your partner comes in with like an overhead kick, or she bounces off you and stuff. So I think like that seems to be like what they're maybe trying to base this off, like a similar sort of combat, which it's great.
And
like it's full of immersion. Like you feel like you're in it. Like it's really fun.
And it works really well. Like not just in Uncharted, but we also saw that a lot in God of War.
Yeah.
You call Atreus to shoot some arrows or summon some wolves.
Yeah, that was
pretty cool.
Yeah, what do we think about God of War coming to PC? By the way,
oh, I'm so excited.
Is it
I am
just
replaying
the
that.
one?
Just the
Or
first,
just the first one?
just the last one, like the one that was released in 2018, so which was technically the fourth game, right? But it's just called God of War.
Yeah, see, that's what sucks is, I mean, I'm gonna play it. I never got to play 3 because I never, like, PlayStation 2 was like the last PlayStation I owned as far as my own consoles. And they were never on Xbox. But God of War was always one of my favorite series, and I've only heard good things. Drnkie talks highly of it. Watched his playthrough God of War. He enjoyed it.
I was only talking to that we have a little intern working for us in the job at the moment, and I just asked him, are you a gamer or whatever, and he was like, yeah, I have a PlayStation. I was like, what have you played on it? And he was saying God of War. He's like, I played God of War recently. It's like probably the best game I've ever played in my life. And I was like, you are not the first person to say that to me, and you won't be the last either. It was absolutely incredible.
They really do good on puzzles in that game still, which from what I've seen with Drnkie, they still kind of carry on the not many games are carrying on puzzles as well as combat and stuff, I feel like.
Yeah.
No, they're very creative the way they use your combat abilities to solve the puzzles in that game. It's very creative the way they do it. I'm excited to see if this game, I want to see if it actually does any graphical upgrades, because I know they're making it for the PS5, right? So is it going to be better than PS5 graphics? Like, are you going to be able to unlock like the 244 hertz
100%
FPS? You know what I mean? Because then it's worth it for me. If it's just going to the PS5, like, is it that much better? I don't know.
And
Drnkie, it's going to be unlocked, man. Like for sure, it's going to be. Yeah.
But
I'm blasting that thing at max.
I presume you're not getting the second game. Like the second game will be released as a Sony exclusive, and you're probably not getting it for a year at least. I'd say on PC. So like I'm definitely gonna have to play. Like, I'll buy it on PS5 and I'll play it on PS5 for sure. Yeah.
It's great.
I want to see it on PC. I would buy it again just because I love this game. It is the best game ever made.
Yeah.
The way they connect with you, like, I don't know if you realize it, but like they never do one camera cut that entire game. There is one camera from the very beginning to the end, and it's either on your back or swoops around to like look at the scene, but they never cut it. Like, it's the most. I don't know how they were able to pull that off, but it is
That's
the most
insane.
It's so
beautiful.
impressive, man.
Yeah.
It's a masterpiece.
That is
Like,
true seamless
load
gameplay.
screens or anything. The whole game.
The whole game. It's all one camera.
The only time it's ever cut is because you decided to turn it off.
Yep.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I do want to pick it up on PC just to experience it. Just like like the 60 FPS it can be very annoying at times.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm actually like, because I play on a 240 hertz monitor here, and now I'm noticing like when I'm playing games that are only 60, like I'm like the motion blur is just like physically making me sick now. Like I feel sick. I feel dizzy from it. Like even when I put on Uncharted last night, I was just like, oh my god! Like I had to try and turn motion blur off to try and like dampen it and stuff. But it's just hard, like, and I just think like a game like even because they did like a kind of soft kind of update for the PS5 for God of War 4. But I would just love to see it like full whack on PC. Like I'd say it's just even more beautiful.
Well, so, but like besides God of War though, like another game coming to the PC is Monster Hunter Rise, and I would say that is a massive upgrade. The frame rate is capped at 30. And it's so smooth and so seamless now. It's like I'm stoked to play it. And it's funny that it's coming around the same time as God of War, which makes me think that they're trying to compete.
Yeah.
So like I'm excited for all of these ports. coming over to the computer so that we can see its full potential.
Yeah. Do you think we get like games like Spider-Man? I don't know if Spider-Man's going to come to the PC.
I think we do. I think Sony's really starting to ever since what you call it, Horizon Zero Dawn was such a success on PC. I think they're really starting to like open up and like let their exclusives come there. So I could see Spider-Man coming over. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I doesn't feel like a game that you could play on keyboard and mouse. I still think it would be like a controller plug-in, like for me anyway, definitely.
Oh yeah.
I'd love.
It might be
I
recommended.
would love to play God of War on keyboard and mouse. Love to.
Really?
Yeah, I think just.
I was gonna say that.
Just with throwing the axe and all that sort of thing, I'd prefer.
Yeah,
I prefer
true.
to have the mouse accuracy. Like I think it would just feel a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah, 100%.
But Kyle, if you are still looking to play God of War 3, I think you can play it on PlayStation Now, which is also available on the computer.
Really?
Yeah.
PlayStation Now you can play on PC.
I didn't know that.
Wow, I didn't know that either. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Max Luthor, I think, was doing that from his computer playing Fear.
Wow.
That game is one of the fear. I played that on Xbox. That's why I don't play scary games anymore.
Yeah.
That game is messed up.
Did you poop on the seat?
That Xbox Game
Yes.
Pass like is really good value as well. Like you can get like the first
What'd you
week
say it was called? PlayStation what?
PlayStation. Now.
Now?
How much is it? Like $12 a month or something like that? Is it? Or 10 or?
It's the future.
That's why I'm telling you, this is the last generation of consoles.
Mhm.
This PlayStation Now, the way they're doing Xbox through Microsoft, Xbox games through Microsoft, they can't make a better console without it just being a computer tower. They can't.
Yeah. Fact.
I don't know. It's just like there's so many. I mean, nowadays you can create a pretty good computer at maybe $500-600 around the same price as a console. But if you were to just get a console straight up, like it's got all the bells and whistles that you need just to run the damn thing. So like, you know, and stable, because when you buy a game on the computer, it's optimized like for the minimum, but they don't know exactly what you have. So whatever you're running, it may not agree with it. So
Yeah. Like there's no way you're running on a €600 rig. You're not running like God of War on max graphics. Like it wouldn't work.
No.
Like it's not going to play. Like so, I suppose that's one of the downfalls, especially if you're only kind of getting into like PC building and stuff like that. If you don't have the money to go big, like you're not going to be able to really see the benefits of PC. You know, I would nearly say take your time, take more time, just get more money together and be able to just drop it on a bigger rig, because you're not going to see the benefits of a small rig. Like not at all.
yeah,
Guys,
it's a.
go on, Alex. Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say it's a journey to build your computer, but once you do it, it feels so satisfying.
It's one of the not even joking. One of the best days of my life was building my computer, because it was like a dream of mine to do it since I was a kid. Always been obsessed with like PCs and like, you know, like work in IT.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean. It's a career for me now, but
What
building my machine
It's
was
crazy.
the like one of the best things I ever did in my life. Like no joke.
Dude,
Yeah,
it's
like
crazy
this
how scary it
computer
is
back
still to mess with the motherboard, even if you've been doing it for years and years. I still get so scared attaching everything to the motherboard. Like,
Oh, the first time I turned my PC on, I was like, you know, thing cost me like €3,000. I was like, please don't
Please
explode, don't explode, don't explode. I was like, you know, don't blow the board or anything. And it turned on first time, and I was like, I am an animal. I was like, yes, first time. It was great.
it's that scene from Castaway. I have created fire.
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah.
Whenever
no,
I'm
it
like
was
working
great.
in mine, I still like try to ground myself like 18 times. I'm like, all right, touch
Yeah.
metal,
Yep.
touch metal, touch metal, touch metal.
Yeah. I
I
had
haven't had a static
still
shock in
don't create
years, but this
static.
is the time.
I had a static band, and I had it like down on the radiator
Okay.
and stuff like that.
Full nerd.
Yeah,
Full nerd. Finto actually wore the static band.
Hell yeah, dude. No way.
I had the
wasn't
static
messing
band, I had the static pad, I had static free like tools. Like, yeah, I'm gonna go hard.
Yeah, you got it. You got
I
it.
think the only way I
Safety
could
first.
get happier with building a computer is if I did like an aquarium PC build in like the mineral water.
Oh yeah,
That'd
yeah,
be cool.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I think like the whole kind of like water cooled and stuff like that. Like it's amazing to look at, but it would like freak me out on the on the
Bro,
regular.
I've heard
like,
so many
leaks and
terror
stuff.
stories of
Yeah.
people saying that like they came home and there was just their fluid color. I guess the guy was using pink. He said there was just pink all over his floor, and it was because the miniature vibrations of all the fans and stuff like that in the PC slowly loosened it.
Yeah.
Over time.
That terrifies me. Like, terrifies me.
Oof.
Like, you know, I have the Corsair, the H150, like the liquid cool, but like it's closed off in a radiator. Like it's not really gonna do much damage. Like it's fine.
Closed systems are the way to go. Doing like rigid loop where you put in the liquid yourself, that's sketch.
It is.
So
scary.
So when I have 36 million, I'm gonna keep working on it until I can make my own closed loop without a problem.
Yes, sir. Guys, unless we have anything else, I think that's kind of a great moment to wrap it up.
Sounds good.
Hell yeah.
Hey,
Kyle,
it's been a marvelous chat.
Kyle, tell us
Marvelous
what
chat.
are our next movies, Kyle? You're always good at knowing what's next.
Looks like this next week, actually, Drnkie and I were talking about this earlier. We're coming up on Infinity War and Endgame, but there's like Captain Marvel kind of scattered in between. So we could, I think what we should do, honestly, we could treat Captain Marvel like Black Widow a little bit and just do the Infinity War Endgame for next week. And then the week after that is when we have Eternals. Because that'd be a really good going into Eternals.
Again, that's perfect timeline wise. Yeah, with the IRL because that's going to.
I think
take
if we
place right
just
after.
do the last two Avengers,
next week
We're
is
doing-
the two Avengers.
and we can maybe mention Captain Marvel at some point, or we can just pretend like she never happened.
Yeah,
If you have time, we can watch it.
yeah. I could skip it. I think
We'll
I
watch it
only
right before the Marvels.
yeah, exactly. That's the only time I'm going to rewatch that movie.
And we got to make sure to be ready for the Spider-Man marathon that you want to do, Finto.
I do want to.
Yeah,
I do want to do a
stoked
Spider-Man
for it.
marathon.
I'm throwing the cartoon into that marathon.
Which
I'm gonna
Into the
watch all
Spider-Verse?
cartoons.
Or the
No,
TV series?
the OG one.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, bro. I'm kind
I'm
of
gonna go through that again.
I'm picking at episodes for that and just kind of watching the best ones, but yeah,
No, I'm gonna do all of them.
phenomenal.
I can't wait. I can't wait to hear
Yeah,
that
so for
shriek
next
from
week
Peter.
we'll do Infinity War and Endgame. It'll be the big two.
Yeah. Chandler asks, "Isn't Captain Marvel in Endgame?" She is, but like in the real timeline, she was introduced in her own movie between those two movies, so that it would make sense that she shows up at
Actually,
the end of Endgame.
Timeline order. Didn't we watch Captain Marvel at the beginning?
Yeah,
of
but
the
it was the
timeline
first. It
order?
was the
Yeah.
first movie we watched.
Yeah, so we watched it. So
It's not
technically, yeah,
it's not
we're
part.
good.
It's not part of the timeline rewatch, but release-wise, it was in
We
between.
have
It was in
Ant-Man
between
and
the two.
Wasp. Actually, we're
Yeah.
missing Ant-Man and Wasp.
That was again. That
Um,
happened during, like, timeline-wise, that happened between the two movies, because obviously
Yeah.
we should probably technically watch Infinity War and then watch Ant-Man and the Wasp because they happen at the exact same time. Because we see the snap at the very end, and that's how Lang gets stuck in the quantum realm. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So they those two movies
it's hard
technically
to
happen at
do.
the same time. So you could try and squeeze the three of them in. Maybe that's a lot of watching though. Like, you know, that's like nearly 8 hours. So it's really up to you guys if you want to do it.
Let's just do Infinity War Endgame and lead up in Eternals. Even if it's out of
Yeah.
order, it works well for what we're about to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes
Yep.
sense. That makes sense. All right, guys, have a good night, everybody.
All right, boys.
Thank you so much for being here, as always.
Let everyone
Thank
like
you.
each other.
Make sure to like, share the video, comment down below.
Hell
We
yeah.
appreciate you.
Much appreciated.
Later, everyone.
Later, guys.
Later.
Bye, bye, bye.
Bye.